Hello and welcome to Friday Night League, where we're kicking off Week 5 with the celebration of NA's deepest rivalry, Cloud9 versus TSM. Now, those teams are going to be facing off tomorrow, but we're whetting your appetite with a classic show match featuring some of the most iconic players from both of these rosters and Voyboy clashing for the first time in years. I could not be more excited. We have Prolly, Crumbs, Mark. How stoked are you for the match to come?
The legendary roster is back. I can't wait to see what Lemon and Balls have been up to.
Yeah, I'm excited. And, I mean, there's been so much hype over the course of the week with all the different pieces coming out. So it's been building up to this, and I'm excited to see it finally come through.
It's been awesome to see all these little teasers, but for anybody that has missed any of those announcements, let's go ahead and review the rosters that you will be seeing here today. Now, on the blue side, we do have Cloud9 Classic. Balls in the top lane, jungler, it's Meteos. High take into mid. In the bot lane, we have Sneaky, joined by support Lemon Nation.
And on the red side, it's the boys in black. TSM Classic in the top lane. You know who it is. In the jungle, you know who it is. In the mid lane, it's Voyboy. In the bot lane, you know who it is. And in support, well, you already know who it is.
Now, I'm looking at these pictures and something is missing for me. I can't see him. Where's the man with the plan, the starter of TSM? Reginald, where he be at?
Well, Reggie couldn't attend. He wishes he could have, since he had played in previous show matches that we've had before. But this one, I mean, I guess when you're running a multi-million-dollar organization, sometimes playing show matches just can't make it into your day.
I mean, to be fair, it was something about a personal conflict or something. I don't think it was just like, I'm too busy counting my stacks to show up, Crumbs.
I mean, we saw the $10,000 wanted, so I think if we put our heads together, this might be a worthy bounty. But realistically, I mean, Reggie was the aggressive mid lane archetype, and he doesn't want to get shown up by High again. I think he's in hiding right now.
Well, wherever he's hiding, hopefully he's nice and bunkered down. But nonetheless, Voyboy is in for him, and we have to admit, he's been a pretty good sport about it.
Yeah, I've been watching Voyboy's Twitter. He's been retweeting basically everything about him, as well as finding all the photoshops he can to put his head on top of Reggie's body or Bjergsen's body, and leaning into the fact that he's like, no, what are you guys talking about? I was always on TSM. Don't you remember all those important matches with me?
I just hope there's one fan somewhere that's new to the LCS coming in and seeing all of this and are just believing what they see, that Voyboy is right
massive
there.
Massive inside
the
joke that they just don't get.
Yeah, just like, oh yeah, this is what I've been waiting for all week. But I mean, nonetheless, as far as the LCS audience at large, there's a lot to look forward to with the rosters that we have coming up. And while some of them we've seen in recent times, whether it be in LCS, grinding League of Legends continuously day by day on stream, there are others where we're not exactly sure the last time they touched the game. So probably, who do you think are the people we're looking to carry things, and who's throwing the bricks in the backpacks?
Oh my God.
Yeah, obviously I'm not going to say Illumination or Balls. I know Crumbs was wondering where they are. They're not going to be carrying. We have MIA as their rank, by the way.
This is such a tough one because the best players are on C9 and also the worst players.
Okay.
True. It's a balance.
Wild Turtle obviously has Smurf accounts, but D1, that really just shows you that D1 is ELO hell. I mean, he's played pro, right? D1 is the ELO hell in NA. It's hard to get out of there. I'm in there.
I mean, it's like where you go where you're like, I'm still try-harding a little bit, but I'm not grinding quite enough to really want to break into Challenger, you know? It's like, it's the cream of the try-hard, still really good border, though.
There's no cream in that diamond.
Okay.
But it is interesting the fact that we just noted Cloud9 has people way at the top, way at the bottom. Obviously, there's a fair difference between Challenger and D1 when we talk generally, but these are all pros or ex-pros. So Crumbs, do you think that the team that is so spread from top to bottom is going to be able to trump TSM, or because TSM have some kind of in the middle of the pack, they'll be able to move forward?
Ooh, I think for this kind of show match, you want to have those guys that are just stacked out of control. We see like Meteos and Sneaky, they're going to be able to play it well together. Meteos just beat Cloud9 Academy today as well, which was a team on a huge win streak. So I think that the Cloud9 team is actually just yoked, and TSM is going to have a really hard time here. I mean, despite Balls being MIA, last time he played, he got a pentakill being Diamond 2.
And
so this doesn't really matter.
Kobe has said he's played with him recently on like Flex Q or something, so he's not totally missing. Kobe has seen him.
Yeah, you know, sometimes you see an unranked player in your match and you have to worry about them more than anybody else. But nonetheless, the 10 geezers are ready to take to the Rift. So let's send things over to Captain Flowers and Kobe for this classic clash.
Thank you very much, everybody, and welcome to this classic showdown between TSM and Cloud9. The last time that we got to see these players go head-to-head, man, I wasn't even in the esports scene. I was still back in Ohio shoveling dirt. Kobe was still one of the dudes casting these games all the way back then. He's part of the old guard, and as they said on the desk, he's even still playing with balls. What's the secrets, bro? Where's balls at?
Well, they're saying geezers here, okay? I'm feeling a little bit dated right now. Lucky that you have me here. Respect your elders, because I, in fact, know
Oh, I'm
that
sorry, Elder Kobe. I apologize.
Balls has at least one D2 account right now, and he has 2 accounts that have decayed from Challenger. So Balls is a lot better than they're giving him credit for right now. His best champions, in my opinion, that I've seen him carry with are Silas and Jace right now. So I know everybody wants him to see, oh, the Balls Rumble, right? If you go classic Cloud9 lineup, it would be Rumble. I say Meteos Zac probably. High has most played on multiple assassins, but I'd say most iconic would be his Zed. For the game against Samsung, sneaking in there. And then Sneaky himself, what do you think? The Ash Zyra for Sneaky and Elimination? Rounded
I'm
out?
down for it. I want to see it. But most importantly, I actually think that Balls will power spike super hard as long as he has at least one account still in D2. Since this is a nostalgia game, we have to reach back into the time machine to find the perfect point in time where he was at his strongest, and that pentakill was from Diamond 2. So we'll see if they can get it. Let's see how the bans are coming across here. I'm already telling you right now, not ever for the rest of your life are you going to see this ban in professional play. C9 Classic starting off with the Tryndamere ban against TSM.
I got some
Soraka,
insight.
Rumble, and Aphelios all banned away.
I got some insight for you, Flowers, though. I said I'm very old. I have all of these players on my friends list. This is Dyrus' most played champion now. This may not be what you associate with him. Maybe you remember, like, the Shyvana top days, or, you know, even Maokai or something, and him getting ganked a whole bunch. But nowadays, he spams Tryndamere top with Ignite all the time, and he just tries to win lane. So they're actually tryharding in pick ban is what this tells me. Cloud9 did some research, and they're trying to win this sucker.
Well, I actually think that that's a perfect improvisation on what Dyrus' problem used to be, right? Because the old problem with Dyrus was that he was always the punching bag for the enemy teams. They always sent so many guys up to get Dyrus. Oh, man, poor Dyrus. His job is to just absorb pressure and die. Well, if you have a button that says you can't die, you're not going to die, huh? This is perfect big
It doesn't
brain
last forever, though.
type of play. It lasts long enough. 5 seconds is forever in League of Legends. But hey, we're talking about forever. Well, we've got an old school evergreen pick coming out here. It is the Zyra for Cloud9. I'm expecting that one for Elimination.
Let me get some Elimination nod gifts in the chat, please. That is a worthy first pick. He brought out the notebook. I'm gonna say we better be getting the Ash Zyra lane then, because that to me is one of the few times where North America really brought something new in terms of strategy to the world stage. The clear examples were the CLG at MSI and the Cloud9 Ash Zyra lane that Sneaky and Lemonation played. Extremely oppressive, and it's funny that it's actually kind of back in the meta right now and strong right now. Funnily enough as well, Turtle and Sneaky are the 2 players that have the most Ash plays in all of the LCS still to this day.
TSM are going to take the Ezreal and the Leona into them. And you know, I just noticed, because you said, Kobe, that Cloud9 are taking these bans seriously. Well, they also are memeing. Cloud9, one of the teams that could be the most successful at both, as they banned TSM with Tryndamere, Soraka, Malzahar. And if you look across the board, TSM have banned GRA, which is the first half of the word Graves. And as you can see, they've banned Graves. So their plan is also coming together as the Ashe is locked in for C9. And oh, baby, Zed or Bed, wake the hell up, ladies and gentlemen. The Zed is locked in.
All right, I'm 3 for 3 so far on the Cloud9 comp. If they lock in the Zac and the Rumble with the last 2, which I don't see any reason not to. Oh, wait, the Rumble's already banned. TSM, no! Combo Breaker. Are you kidding me? Oh, my gosh. Okay. I still maintain that the Tryndamere ban is a very good ban against Dyrus right now. Maybe Cloud9 didn't actually even know that, but it is his most played and highest win rate champion right now. So doubles as the TSM joke as well as being tryhard. Vladimir, interesting. You think that's going to Dyrus or Voyboy? Because I do remember a decent amount of Dyrus Vladimir in the past, but not a lot recently. So I might think that's actually Voyboy.
And who can forget the famous TSM Voyboy Vladimir games where he was able to solo kill Faker 4 times in lane before level 3? I mean, when you think about Voyboy's time on TSM, those highlight games against Faker are really what comes to mind and what he's able to pull off with the early Vladimir that has a 9-second cooldown on Q. But let's see how the bans are going to proceed here as we are into the second half of the draft. Kindred banned away, so they're definitely not spelling anything on TSM. I don't even think... Wait, no! G-R... well, wait, I was going to try to spell gank because there was Kindred. Oh, no, that's not...
Yeah.
Oh,
I was going to let
not-
it go when you're like, oh, their plan is to ban Graves and then also spell the beginning of Graves. I was like, is that really a plan?
Yeah.
I don't know. Those
It's
are
a
also
plan.
those are also just 3 champions that are strong right now. Graves, Aphelios, and then Ball's most played, most iconic champion of Rumble. And there's the Zac. TSM
all right.
just relentless.
They had to do it. They had to keep Meteos away from the iconic Zac pick, the crazy KDA master, as Xin Zhao and Diana are also going to be banned out here by Cloud9. Okay, TSM, what are we going to see? I still need a jungler. I still need a solo laner. Oh, Zed versus Yasuo mid? Zed, come on. Lock that in.
I want to
Lock
see
that
it.
in, boy.
Let's get it. The duel.
Come on, let's go.
On the side of Cloud9, Meteos does have several backup champions,
Aw.
even though Zac is super iconic for him. Meteos has the most Elise plays of all time of any LCS player still to this day as well. And that was the first champion that people really started to note him for in solo queue. There you go, the backup.
The backup is
I know my old
locked.
players.
Yeah, your boomer knowledge is on point
I got-
this game. You are Murphin.
Ooh, full cooldown
the
reduction
boomer
Silas. All right, this is my balls
Okay.
pick. He
Okay,
carries
this
super
is
hard.
what-
He rushes
this is what he smurfs on?
45%, 45% cooldown reduction, and people really underestimate how often you can spam him out the W. Then I've seen him carry several games as soon as you get that big power spike. He just rushes for the CDR.
And Cloud9 is also going to have a lot of extra bragging rights in this because TSM seems to have taken the draft so seriously, and Cloud9 spelled TSM XD with theirs. I think that if TSM loses this game, there's no way you can ever blame it on draft because TSM are out here playing this like it's their promos, and Cloud9 are out here like, dude, this is flex queue. Nobody actually cares about your rank in this. Let's go. The set is locked in. The final pick of the draft there for TSM, and we'll get to see Dyrus take that one up against the Silas of Balls there in the top lane.
I'm excited. I'm so excited for this, actually. Even though they didn't quite get Reggie and Voyboy's in here, the classic TSM mid laner. I'm super excited to see these boomers go back at it because it really brings me back into relevance as well.
I'm so ready for this, man. As somebody who used to just get to watch this on Twitch with everybody else and now to be a part of it, I'm very excited to be stepping into the League of Legends time machine to go back 6 or 7 years here and watch these squads go head to head, especially with so many iconic champions locked in. I actually love how many of these champs are going to be part of that time machine as well. We're not just seeing meta picks. We're not just seeing stuff that everybody would play if they were playing in real LCS right now. This is for fun. This is for glory. This is for the fans. This is what I want out of a show match, man. TSM and Cloud9 coming to deliver.
Now, let's get into analysis of the lineups because everybody's going to point to the jungle diff. There's some very scary stuff going on here where the odd one has not played League of Legends in a long time. I checked his Twitch channel and he played yesterday, was the first time in months that he has played. He did put in some time, some Zac, some Nunu, spreading it out on a couple different champions, but Meteos was just in the LCS, and it's going to be very difficult right now to overcome someone who hasn't played League in that long versus an LCS jungler. So I expect Cloud9 to play very aggressively, help Meteos go for invades, especially since he's Elise and he's going to be ganking a lot.
I mean, that's what the desk was talking about, right? Is when you look at Cloud9, you have the 2 highest ranked players by a pretty significant margin among the 10. And then when you look at the bottom of their roster, you also have some players who are considered a little bit MIA. You, of course, said Balls' rank doesn't look as bad as the scoreboard painted him out to be. But Odd1, having not played in a long time, still sitting there at Plat, that could be a little bit sketchy if Meteos decides he's going to pop off today. We've seen him do it on the Elise before. I'm not going to quote the quote, but you all know what it is. You all know that skill shot's ready in 7.
You know what I was hoping for? I was hoping for the Odd1 to pick Nunu, because he has, and you probably even know the quotes.
But that's not the old Nunu though. I think that's why he didn't do it, because it's not the old XD Nunu.
It still functions in the same way. Odd1's super famous for saying the whole point in picking Nunu is to make the other jungler as useless as you are. And if you are the platinum player in a show match that has challengers in it, that is your goal. Your goal is to make the other player in your position as useless as you are.
Make the challenger guy into a platinum guy and just run around in the jungle eating stuff the entire time. See, I feel like if it was old Nunu, that would be perfect. Because old Nunu was just that champion that runs in, eats the Wraith from your camp, spams dance at you, and then runs away. But I don't know if Nunu's Nunu is as good at that as the old one is. They kind of wanted to make him more interactive, which I think is a little bit detrimental to the Odd1's intended play style here.
I like how you thought about it as well, and you just settled on what you said first, and you're like, yep, that's how it's supposed to be.
Tried to make it work.
Yeah, the new version of Nunu is extremely effective, both as a jungler and as an AP mid laner. So, yeah, completely different. But let's go into TSM's comp here, because they've got a bit of a dive comp. Because he went Nocturne instead of the Nunu, compare really well with Dyrus and Vladimir. That's all just super dive. Leona starts it out, and Ezreal's the mobile carry. So you better know that Sneaky and Lemonation, while they're playing their iconic Ashe Zyra lane and should have some priority in lane and actually should slam that lane, when you get to the team fights, they're going to have to watch their positioning, because those are the low mobility carries that are going to be targeted with this dive.
Yeah, when I'm looking at the team fight potential of these champions on Cloud9, I mean, we've got an Elise, we've got a Zed, we've got an Ashe that could be easily dived on. I'm way more intimidated by the team fight power of the TSM composition with Vlad, with Set, with Leona being able to engage. I think Cloud9 is going to have to be pretty clean here if they don't want to get rolled over in these big 5v5s.
Well, they've got High back in, famous for his shot calling and split pushing. So I think that Cloud9 should be able to pull off some win lane into a 1-3-1 style split pushing type of a game plan here. Especially since I have full confidence in Balls on the Sylas, and you just put
tell me about some of this
side lane.
Tell me about some of this Sylas carry, because from the beginning of Champ Select, you were talking about how Balls pops off on the Sylas. We heard from Mark that you were playing flex queue with Balls. Is this guy just putting you and the other 3 guys in his backpack, just hard carrying on the Sylas? What's the story here?
Yeah, so we just play a bunch of random flex queue where everybody's trolling around, and Balls always has to be the one at one point in the game that decides that we're not losing, no matter how many boneheaded plays have already occurred. And Sylas is a great pick for that, because while the early stages are a little bit rough, he scales incredibly well now. They buffed a lot of his health scaling, a lot of his basic stats scaling, and if you rush cooldown reduction like Balls does, then you get to spam out your W, and that means all the difference in winning a lot of those fights.
So that means that I'm going to specifically watch this game for Cloud9 to do a bunch of troll stuff, and then eventually, what I'm guessing will probably be around the 20-minute mark somewhere, you'll see Sylas just flip a switch and decide, no, we're not allowed to lose this game anymore. We already spelled out TSMXD. We got to make good on it. And I'm going to pay very close attention to when that mental shift happens. And I also want to see if we get any super clever stuff out of High. Because we all remember High being known as just like the guy who played the game for his entire team, like the insane shot calling, the OG brain player. And I want to see that brain at work.
I love watching brains at work. I did get an update here that the delay is due to runes that they are fixing up. So,
Oh,
you
no.
know, it goes. It's understandable. They haven't played it in a long time.
I was
so-
gonna say, if Oddwood hasn't played in a while, does he even know what the new runes are?
Okay, like I said, I went to his stream. He put in like some time. I think there are like 5 games even recently. So he has played the new rune system. We've got confirmation.
Well, because I was just thinking, you know, if I hadn't played the game in a few years and I load up and be like, oh boy, I can't wait to play Skarner with Strength of the Age. Oh no, that's gone. Okay, well, I can't wait to queue up my second favorite rune, Fervor of Oh wait, no, never mind, that's gone too. Well, at least I have some of my old runes and I can equip my cooldown quintet. Nope, wait, that's not possible either. So there's a lot of adaptations that you would have to make if you haven't been in the game for a while, I think, to kind of get used to where they're at right now, Mr. Kobe.
True. Luckily, I think they're well acquainted with the new systems, and we should be able to get into the game pretty soon. Starting off the bat, though, I'm really hoping for some level 1 invades too, because they definitely have a possibility of trying to pull off a level 1 game plan, and that's the biggest thing in show matches that I have played in. Both teams always want to get an advantage early because they don't have faith in the 5 people playing together who haven't played together in so long. So you try and get one of those little cheesy advantages.
I think that's totally legitimate. You're not practicing with these guys. You're not playing with them all the time. So the YOLO play isn't so much of a YOLO as it is just this is probably our best chance at securing the win.
You got Leona stun on the side of TSM. She can start Q. On the side of Cloud9, of course, they have the Ashe Zyra, super good for long range poke, and maybe Lemon can flash Zyra root or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, Zyra's really good. You've got if Elise saves her skill point at level 1, she can shoot the cocoon.
Ooh, don't level cocoon first and try and juggle
Hey,
Elise.
if you think
you definitely have not done some.
I don't play this champion. I play the other Arachnid champion. But I'm just saying, if it can get you 300 gold at the start, do it. Just get your team to leash you.
Okay,
bro.
your team
You have a
has
team.
to. Your team has to then get you to level 2 because you can almost not even get to level 2 if you start E on Elise. Here's the level 1 invasion.
all right.
Oh baby, big brains at work.
This is what we're looking for.
Oh,
CC
my.
finds it. There comes Balls with the chains, flashing over the wall. High is not going to take no for an answer on this play. Ladies and gentlemen, first blood for Balls.
Flowers. We spent the time laying out the game plan for them there. I think maybe they were listening in during their rune stuff. Level 1 invade gets the first blood for Cloud9. Who got the kill? Oh my goodness, it was Balls.
Balls.
They're just getting him to the carry. He's scaling already here.
He's so ready to go. He has Corrupting Potion. He has Dorian's Ring. But
Counter
TSM,
level 1.
Oh, TSM is lurking in the jungle. Meteos and Lemon Nation will move over to the red. Nobody's going to walk through the brush that TSM's waiting. See, Meteos started Cocoon.
Yeah.
I told you.
They have to get him the red buff kill then because it's on really hard.
Oh no! The collapse coming in from TSM. Boy on the flank. The damage goes through, and Lemon Nation is going back home in grayscale. As Cloud9, not only do they lose their red buff and end up giving up the kill, Meteos is now stranded. Sneaky saying, all right, buddy, good luck.
He's like,
and Meteos has to do the crud without
Repel on that Krug, baby.
the most effective level 1 I have ever seen from an Elise. And I know I'm flaming right now, but there's really nothing else he could do. Like, his skill is so useless against this game.
I mean, it does help when you repel on something, but it's definitely very minimal. I would say, after all that, even though Cloud9 got the first blood, because the kill comes later for TSM and they stunt the jungle clear of Elise so heavily, that actually came out in TSM's favor. So the big brain kind of revenge, justice delivered on Summoner's Rift very quickly for TSM ended up benefiting them a little bit more. You can tell Odd1 right now already 11 CS on the Nocturne, clearing away. He even counter jungled some of those Raptors.
And when you look at Meteos, hold on, Xpecial might just be done for down here. Sneaky elimination, one more auto attack will do it. The Leona is just too far forward and the damage shows up. Sneaky and Lemon want to make it a 2-for-1 deal. There's your CC. Wild Turtle flashing away. He will live through that one. Summoner Spell not available from Sneaky there to follow up. And that means we've got ourselves a 2-to-1 game here in the favor of Cloud9. Meteos immediately going over to his blue buff to make sure he can clear that one out. You can see he has 7 CS. That means he didn't even kill all of the baby Krugs in the Krug camp. He just wanted enough to get level 2 and then he abandoned it. He was like, I don't care about this anymore. He just wanted to get the blue and make sure that wasn't getting stolen as well.
Yep, here we go. Meteos back at it again, looking towards the classic TSM mid laner, the heart of the team.
Boy, the kid needing to get himself away from this one. Oh, the cocoon lands, the damage goes through, and High's got the kill thanks to the electrocute. Meteos and High back at it again.
Honestly, Flowers, this is always how it used to go. It was always Meteos camping Voyboy in those classic Cloud9 TSM matchups, and he just got his number every single time. Voyboy with the early pool there. Meteos holds the cocoon and just nails it under the tower.
Meteos also went from losing his red buff at level 1, having to do a cocoon start on Elise solo, to 2-crabbing his opponent. That, you don't ever want to get 2-crabbed in the jungle, especially if you haven't played League of Legends in 3 years. The General is not off to the most phenomenal start, but at least he's got some good farm. Xpecial getting rooted up way too close to the turret, so he won't be able to do a whole lot, but fortunately Sneaky wasn't really there to follow up with any sort of supplementary damage, and it looks like TSM are going to go ahead and get their bottom lane back to base. You can see the gold there in the inventory of Wild Turtle should be enough for him to grab that tier and make sure he can start stacking, but man, Cloud9, they're looking good, Kobe.
Now, I need to address something because we've been memeing about Voyboy on TSM, and I saw all the critics online talk about why at least get somebody who was on a TSM at some point or is any relation to the team at all. But I will let you know that, in fact, Voyboy has played with every single player on this team except one of them. Wild Turtle. He played with my memory. I've got the memory here. Okay, just let me get it out. He played on Curse with Xpecial. Dyrus is getting ganked here. Let's wait for this. Curse with Xpecial, then Dyrus on the Tyler 1 Championship Series, and then the odd one in the Shanghai Masters 2019. Dyrus is dead again.
Yeah, Dyrus just got, so not the best thing here for TSM as they're trying to find a counter kill onto Balls. Wants to walk himself out of this one. The odd one losing about half HP. Meteos not going to find the stun onto Voyboy. Balls wants to go back in, but the empowered transfusion seals the deal. Now Meteos tries to wander into the alcove, but there will be no alcove gaming today. High's trying to find himself the wombo, the combo, the shurikens into the damage, but it's not enough. He has to walk back out of that one. Didn't quite have the burst. Good spell shield from the odd one keeps him alive.
And you can really tell this synergy that Voyboy has with the odd one from their time playing in Shanghai Masters 2019 shows up here.
Yes, the most illustrious of all League of Legends gaming competition, Shanghai Masters 2014.
Yes. Now, let's get right back into this replay. As you know, Dyrus, classic, getting camped here on TSM. 3 members of Cloud9 go top to try and get the dive off on Dyrus. Meteos is Elise, the perfect champion for tower diving, so he can just repel off that tower aggro. Then he does have to flash the Odd One's Q as he comes in. And here, the tenacious duo, Voyboy and Odd One, working their way through the 2v3. Even with the flash from Balls, Voyboy's able to follow. Phase Rush is procced, giving him the speed to chase him down. And then the ultimate does tag Meteos. Get a little bit of damage there, and they finish it off. High thinks that he's going to kill the General with Spell Shield up. Expert Spell Shield there.
Not happening.
Mr. Odd One.
Not happening here. Balls on the Sylas, does have the Hex Tech Revolver ready to go. Now that's not, see, when you said that he rushes cooldown early on, I thought you meant we were going to see full cooldown Garage Sale.
No. He doesn't go to the Garage Sale. He focuses on completed items, okay?
Okay.
Proto
So
Belt first.
okay, so it is full items. We're not going to see like Kindle Gem plus Fiendish Codex plus
No,
cooldown
no,
boot and all this junk sitting in Grandma's
Because
garage.
you
just
need
waiting
the
to be
levels
sold
also for Silas. He's definitely a scaling champion. The part of the changes they did to rebuff Stylist were increases the per level stats and stuff that he does get.
Okay, total gold, you can see on the left side of your screen right there, it's the two mid laners leading the charge, and then Sneaky hot on their heels, with Balls being the one right after that. So Cloud9's lead, about 1,000 gold. All that money is on the people you really want it to be on right now. Odd One in the bottom side of the map, Kobe. He's got the Paranoia ready to go. Xpecial not quite level 6 here on this Leona. Ooh. Tries to go in, but he misses the Zenith Blade and the flash coming out from Sneaky to stay safe, and the counterattack comes through. Xpecial falls, and Elimination grabs the kill. Meteos wants to land a cocoon, but he will not find the accuracy he's looking for. A botched engage from Xpecial is money in the pocket for Cloud9.
Swing and a miss there for Xpecial. Yep, not level 6, so yeah, trying to go for the flash. He is, you know, he's become a coach nowadays, so not so much on the button presses. Dive, though, Meteos gets one.
They get the other. Wild Turtle on the run, trying to escape from Sneaky, but the auto attack's keeping him slowed down. Meteos stepping forward, might just fall to Xpecial. There we go, the damage from the Eclipse, enough to facilitate that one. Sneaky trying to put the auto attacks into the TSM support, but now he finds himself in a 1v2. Lemon says, later, bro. And Voyboy says, not so fast. Zyra will go on a magical...
Ooh, I like it. Okay.
Will this actually manage to execute?
No, the general's on him. No. I like the.
That was ballsy.
All right.
I respect the attempt, but
let's see if Xpecial gets a continued vengeance here, because he came back from dying, got 2 kills, and
Hyde trying to see if maybe he can outplay this one. Nicely done. Look at the fancy feet on this man. Walking away from the CC2. Needs a little bit more time to stay alive. The shutdown for the general, but Hyde making sure he took one with him in the 1v3.
TSM getting some comeback kills here, keeping it close. Getting the kill on High is big. That was 3 for the Zed. They got to put a stop to it. I'm glad that this is not a blowout here so far. Xpecial is still definitely calibrating, but now that he's level 6, bigger impact. You saw the ultimate go off there, secure the kill.
You know what I like, Kobe? I like the fact that we got 14 kills in 10 minutes. These guys are bloodthirsty. This is fantastic. This is what I love to see. Sneaky trying to get towards that Blade of the Ruined King here in the bottom side, so then he'll have some slow potential for even more fights. And Meteos wants to take Shelly. Once he secures this one, they'll have about 3 minutes to use it and get some bonus plate money, so there's more of an opportunity to fight for that. And you can see that Cloud Drake just hanging out, taking a nap there in the bottom part of the river. Nobody's even concerned about him so far because he's not a kill. Everybody just wants the money, as I immediately cast a
What were you saying?
And Voyboy and Odd One decide to start that up.
As I was saying, Cloud Dragon, #1 TSM priority right now. Nocturne gets to use a spell shield on Cloud Drake auto attacks, by the way, because they are coded as spells. Makes them very efficient at taking down those objectives.
I always enjoyed doing it. I have played Nocturne for a couple games, actually, back in the day when I used to do, not Flex U, but the one that was before, 5v5 team ranked or whatever.
Yeah, team
and
ranked.
Sometimes people would ban Skarner. So I would be like, okay, I don't want to play something that's hard. I need to play Nocturne.
Fair enough.
So that was one of my favorite parts about playing Nocturne, is the fact that you were able to use the spell shield to block the dragon auto attack for the speed. That actually feels so good for clearing that out solo, especially early on. Balls looking for maybe the opportunity for the kill here onto Dyrus. Nice flash away from Dyrus. Probably would have been taken down there if he got apprehended by those chains.
Yeah, you see High was moving up the river, and he has a Ghost Blade so he could pop the active if that stun lands. Walked it really quickly up there and finish off the kill. Seeing that Dyrus had just used the Haymaker, but there it is, the classic Elimination and Sneaky.
Oh no! That was not a good use of stopwatch. There's the stopwatches that are actually able to buy you time and change the flow of the fight by allowing your team to show up. And there's the other stopwatches where you turn yourself into a golden statue before you die.
Yeah.
And that was part of that second category, my friend, as Shelly is summoned up. The General will make his way down to the Tier 1 turret, only in time to watch it turn to rubble, and TSM will lose their first turret this game.
I like that we get to see why this duo got them so much fame. The stacking CC elimination snare into Ashe ultimate, stunning X special. Ooh, only lands the slow on that ultimate. Plus, not a lot.
That was a nice cocoon there from Meteos. Maximum range, forcing the odd one to flash away to stay alive. Cloud9 is taking control of this game, Kobe. TSM XD bans or not, these boys came to play.
Oh, let's see if they get a brush play off here. No ultimate for Sneaky, but they can Zyra root.
Special. Turtle trying to get themselves away. Special making the noble sacrifice, just putting distance between the Cloud9 players and his teammate, knowing there's no way out.
Yeah, I mean, he was always a sacrificial player, but that's also... Oh, Meteos with the flash over the wall.
Meteos not going to have the damage he needs.
Yeah. You know, you miss all the cocoons you don't take, and some of them that you do take. Balls and Dyrus. Let's see, what is this replay? Was there a... Did he kill him when we weren't paying attention? Because the flash, he blew the flash earlier. He must have got the kill.
Slam, thwap,
Oh!
other body slam.
A boom! Yeah. That's the balls I'm talking about. That's the hype we're trying to build coming into this game. He's got the proto belt done.
So much damage for this Sylas here in the top lane. Making things happen, man. And there it is. You can see more of those cooldown items coming into the inventory now. Working on the arm guard, which by itself doesn't have cooldown, but will build into the Zhonya's. It'll give him another 10, progressing towards those marks you were talking about, so he can just keep spamming the spells as the fight moves forward. And Dyrus has Mercury Treads. Yeah, he has an Executioner's Calling, but this... Wait, hold on. Why does he... hold on. Let's pause for a second. I need you to riddle me this, Kobe.
Yeah.
Why does Dyrus have a chain vest when the enemy top laner and jungler are AP?
That is a difficult question to answer, but maybe he's planning on matching Zed, or he's preparing for the triple dive, because he did get killed by High when they went topside. So he's thinking, I am Dyrus, and they are going to camp me. So even the Zed is going to be up here very often. Let's go with that. I was also going to say for Balls, the reason he built the arm guard part of it first, you know, he's versus 2 AD with the Nocturne and the set. So optimizing.
All right, we'll keep an eye on it, because I was pretty perplexed by that one. I'm glad we've got the big brain Kobe here to explain the itemization choices for us. I was scratching my head a little bit there.
The Zed rums. You always got to protect against those Zed rums.
Yeah, we got to look out for Zed. When he shows up into the lane, you know it's going to be a problem. He's already got one lethality item completed. The next one's components are already locked and loaded as well. Odd One jumping in, looking for the kill on to Sneaky. Elimination throwing down the ulti. Odd One going to be thrown up into the air, and the damage is true, as now Voyboy's looking to find the kills onto the Cloud9 back line. Ladies and gentlemen, he's got one. Can he make it two? Voyboy taking Sneaky out of the picture means now TSM can mount their counterattack, looking for some damage, but they've lost Wild Turtle. Voyboy getting the Empowered Transfusion, keeping himself alive. Special. There's the aim. There's the CC they were looking for. Meteos gets the kill on TSM support, but ends up trading his own life for it. It is a 4 for 3, and TSM come out on top.
Yep, Voyboy and Dyrus, the solo laners left alive with the dragon. This is going to be TSM stacking 2 Drakes for themselves. So even though they're the ones behind in gold, starting to take over, winning the team fights and in the objectives, Voyboy now level 11 on this Vladimir will have very good scaling. His Zhonya's is also done. So just like Team Solo Mid, the reason they were named Team Solo Mid, obviously for Voyboy, is going to take over.
Yeah. I mean, Voyboy's legacy can be felt on the team to this very day. As, watch that, into the back line, boom, Sneaky's out of there, and Elimination just trying to survive. He'll be the only man standing after the dust settles.
And this was a bit of an ill-advised 1v3 for Balls, as Elimination and Meteos are both really low. But, you know, you got to test your limits in the show matches. How are you going to get back on the LCS stage, get picked up, if you don't 1v3 sometimes?
Okay, you can see in the inventory now, Dyrus was going for the Dead Man's Plate Rush. concerned more about the mobility that the item provides, which, as somebody who only plays a champion that has no gap closer, that item is super important. That passive is incredibly just fundamental to making it so you can function. However, he is super weak to 3 out of 5 of the enemy champions now with that itemization. Has got the damage on Tahai. He tries to make the moves in the mid lane, Kobe, but the point and click from Leona is too much. He is shut down. However, it does buy enough time for the rest of his team to grab that Rift Herald.
Stunned up and shut down again. Yeah, classic Hyde decides to sacrifice for the objective. Lemon Nation's kind of deep here, and Dyrus.
Oh, Dyrus has backup coming in. The General has arrived! And that's going to be a kill for the side of TSM. Over the wall goes Dyrus. There's nothing for Meteos to repel to, and splat goes the Spider. Double kill for Dyrus.
Yeah,
They're working out with Dyrone.
They're outside of the lane phase, so now that he's got full mobility with that Dead Man's Plate, makes the pick on the Lemon Nation, makes it 2 with Meteos and Odd1 trading kills there. And TSM, once again, yet to push. They've got the extra champion alive. Mid-turret will be the target. Sneaky trying to farm up and defend on his way. Ash should be able to hold pretty well. Oh, Dyrus wants another piece.
Oh, Xpecial leading the charge here. The damage and CC down onto Sneaky is more than enough. Xpecial may end up paying for this with his life. He is ignited, trying to walk away from this one. One more tick of the Ignite will kill him, but one more tick there shall not be. Lemon Nation just barely falling short of the kill.
Meanwhile, Balls is going to get that top turret for Cloud9, and we are into the mid stage of the game where we get to see that 1-3-1 we were talking about in Champ Select Flowers. Cloud9 trying to play to their win conditions here with a classic composition. Split push with your Sylas, with your Zed, try and pull TSM apart. TSM, though, with Xpecial and Odd1, very good tools for trying to pick off these low mobility Cloud9 members, namely Sneaky and Lemon Nation with no flashes. Will have to be very careful.
Sneaky and Lemon Nation having to deal with a fed Set and a fed Vladimir as Zyra Ashe? This is some nightmare material, Kobe. How are you ever going to even begin to approach these two champions? One of them just won't die because XD Haymaker. The other one literally turns untargetable and then bursts you for 2/3 your HP. These guys are going to need to be real 5-head if they want to figure out how to avoid this.
We got some 5-head shot calling in action right now. All 3 of these Cloud9 members pretending to be wolves.
Can the cosplay succeed? Will the Odd1 want to go farm his own jungle? Thinking about wolves. Okay, you can see a ping coming out, but it's from the side of Cloud9 as they're pinging themselves.
The wolves are out.
Question marks. Nice shot from Sneaky. Wild Turtle managing to buffer that and shift over the wall, but High still got the kill onto him. Odd1 trying to find the counter kill here. That's a 1-for-1. Odd1 has to flash out to make sure he doesn't give away another free kill. Voyboy looking to come around from behind, but ladies and gentlemen, Balls says no and shuts down the kid.
Killed him with his own ultimate there. Meteos lands a Cocoon Tower going to go down as well. And Cloud9 pushing ahead.
Xpecial trying to get away from this one. That Eclipse will do a good job at making sure he doesn't take any significant damage on the retreat. The Odd1 working his way back into the fight now, but Sneaky is putting these focus-fired shots onto the Tier 3 turret. Odd1 won't get away. Dyrus won't get away. Sneaky's got himself some damage, and you're gonna see Meteos pick up the kill too. They want to back up. They're not looking to stick around, overcommit for this inhib. Sneaky just barely getting away from that True Shot barrage. And Cloud9 find a way to win the fights despite the fact that TSM have the team fight tools, and they are once again just popping off.
And Sneaky picking up these fruit, he might try and defend against the 3rd dragon here because that would be the one window for TSM. They're heavily down in gold, but on a Cloud9 resets, if they had enough players alive to try and rush that down, Wild Turtle actually with High on the flank, he's going to get maybe one shot.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be something close to that. Over the wall comes Balls. There we go. High's getting the kill credit, and now they're looking for even more. Xpecial down to 25% HP, and there he goes, Kobe. He has flipped that switch. It's a double kill for High. It's incredible amounts of team fight pressure coming out from Balls. A stolen Leona ulti to keep the General in place, and Sneaky puts an arrow in his back. Cloud9 find 4, and the pings are on to the Baron. The old squad is not missing a beat.
Okay, everybody from TSM's got to get behind Dyrus now. What can he do? And 1v5 Baron Steel as set. That
he
is
can
really
farm
difficult.
the mid lane wave for about 120 gold.
Dragon trade. If they try and go for that lofty win condition, he is headed towards the dragon, but they've been scouted out.
Sneaky hawk shot, making sure that TSM can't do this without Cloud9 being aware. Let's see if TSM want to try to rush it down. Doesn't look like it. Sneaky walking around the backside of the pit here. High wants to take the blast cone over. Scuttle Crab secured by Meteos. Cloud9 with control over the bottom river. TSM looking to maybe find their chance to engage here. The Ocean Drake is aggroed, putting a little bit of damage onto Wild Turtle here, who's now down to 20% HP. Turtle is in no condition to fight. Voyboy is on the front line. Voyboy is CC'd. Voyboy is not a part of this conversation anymore. And Cloud9 will stop TSM's quest for the soul.
This is not looking good for TSM. Just yesterday, Cloud9 Academy took down TSM Academy. This is the second game that the Cloud9 and TSM organizations will have this week, with the third being in the LCS tomorrow. And already Cloud9 looking like they have a huge advantage to try and make it 2-0 in the best of 3 for the week.
Wild Turtle tried to make sure he was going to get his own red buff there. Came close with the True Shot Barrage, but just a little bit shy on the damage. Means High can steal that one away. This Zed with 2 completed lethality items, one being the Dustblade and then having the third Dirk in inventory, means even through the Iceborne Gauntlet of Wild Turtle, he doesn't really have much of a chance to survive against this assassin. Sneaky with another arrow, forcing the flash out of Dyrus. Without that flash, the arrow would have connected. He would have been done. Sneaky's aim has been on point, Kobe.
It definitely has. Cloud9 have been a bit more on the point. They're going for High, though.
High getting caught out. Trying to turn this one around, find some combo damage, but it won't work. Not even close. Shutdown credit for Voyboy. TSM, they get themselves a kill, but it did cost them the Nocturne ultimate, so Odd One is going to have to wait for that to be back up to really be super useful in the upcoming fights. Meanwhile, Cloud9 with a big push here into the bottom lane. Dyrus down to half HP. Inhibitor turret number 2 about to fall. It's out of the picture. Let's see where the fight's going to go now. Voyboy already been killed off. Special having to run himself away. Meteos takes about 75% of his health bar in damage, but he gets a kill onto Xpecial with the red buff burn fade away. Mid lane inhibitor open, exposed, and now under fire. Bot lane inhibitor gone. Cloud9 are looking to put this one away. They are 12,000 gold ahead.
2 inhibitors down. They can get a full reset off with all of that money as well. Looks like they might want to cash in a little bit more of the standing gold. This outer tower very low. Maybe Sneaky can stick around and knock it out. TSM, though, reeling after that. It's going to be so difficult for them, to find a way back into the game, because Cloud9 also got that other dragon, so that kind of reach for the stars hope that they had at a possible soul has been taken away, as well as half their base.
From a 12,000 gold deficit, I feel like they have to just practically pedal to the metal, go for it just like this, try to catch Sneaky and limit out. It's the only chance. Sneaky gets himself away. The arrow doesn't find the mark, but I don't think it even matters. Sneaky's going to be taken down. Shutdown credit over to Dyrus. Meteos looking to grab some more kills. Goes on a rampage, grabbing one onto Wild Turtle. Going into the stasis now. Elimination barely walking himself away as Meteos grabs a double. There are only 2 players left alive on TSM, and High is looking to fix that here real soon. By the way, that was a 4v5. Balls was in the bottom half of the map doing something.
Balls is going in now. He wants
I don't know what he was doing, but he's decided he is not going to have the finale of this game not feature the Balls highlight reel as he uses the set ultimate to take down the Leona. Looking for a little bit more damage onto Dyrus there on the steps of the fountain. TSM in shambles as Cloud9 bringing that old school teamwork to the Nexus turrets. Both of them on the verge of collapse as I speak. The General cannot get himself away. Balls goes into the stasis to buy himself a couple of extra seconds. Flashing away now, but he will be taken down. TSM back out of the fountain, trying desperately to hold on here at death's door. High pushing the last remaining inhibitor, trying to take that one down. Guaranteed TSM won't be able to leave their base for the next 5 minutes. They're trying to hold on, man. It's so many super minions. And still multiple players from Cloud9 applying pressure at the same time. Voyboy's at half HP. Meteos looking to find some extra damage onto anybody that volatile Spiderling might be able to connect with. And with Sneaky back in the fight, High's taking the opportunity to go in. Warps back to his original shadow to stay alive, and with Boy taken down, that's going to be a trade there as the True Shot Barrage finds elimination. Odd One into the back line, looking for the kill onto High, who gets himself away, and Odd One's going to evaporate. This Nocturne build has no survivability. Meteos there with the Cocoon again. 7 seconds be damned. The man's always got the thing off cooldown, and that should be all she wrote. Meteos looking to pad the stats here just a little bit harder. That repel actually mattered, as now Dyrus will be slammed backwards with his own ulti, trying to make some kind of a difference. It does not matter. Ladies and gentlemen, Cloud9 will take this old school show match.
Classic Cloud9, still too difficult to take down. One of the teams that had the most success in the LCS ever, of all time, destroys once again.
And despite the fact that well-known TSM prodigy Voyboy had some pretty pop-off plays in the fights around the mid-game, the cohesion, the teamwork of Cloud9 just proved to be too much. High had some especially fancy feat on the Zed. Please buff Zed. Bring him back into pro play. He is so fun to watch. Please, please, please.
Definitely.
I love watching Zed.
Fair enough. We'll get him in there. Actually did get buff on the most recent patch to the speed of W for the Shadow Flowers. So
There we go. There we go. Just little baby steps. That's all we got to do. And then everybody can get out of bed and we can all watch the Zed. But either way, that was a lot of fun to kind of see everybody back at it again. I'm so glad the Cloud9 team played all their classic champions as well. Well, I guess Balls didn't really play a classic champion because Sylas can't be considered classic, but it was mostly classic champions.
yeah, as many as they could get their hands on with the Rumble getting banned out. Definitely enjoyed the show, though. Happy to see them on the Rift again. Even the guys that hadn't played League in quite a long time, were able to dust off some of that rust, looking like they're having fun at least.
Yeah, that's the big thing, is that looked like that game was a hoot one way or the other. Just nonstop kills, both teams constantly trying to make the plays, both teams finding plays at different points throughout the match. And I was kind of hoping that TSM would have been able to keep the dragon stacking going so we could have had one big climactic battle in neutral territory to decide the fate of the game, but Cloud9 was just too damn clean for that. They made short work of TSM. And now, I mean, are we ever going to see the old roster back together? Maybe some of these guys looking like they could be ready for some LCS? Kobe?
Yeah, I mean, people have started to postulate, oh my, what could this roster do if they were in the LCS today? A lot of these theoreticals going around. I have to say, I'm super looking forward to our current LCS teams of Cloud9 and TSM going up against each other tomorrow as well to finish off the finale and to be the game that is going to be pretty impactful, as TSM did deliver Cloud9 their only loss in the regular season for spring. And people have been looking for who's going to be the next challenger for Cloud9. In summer split, we haven't had anyone deliver them a loss yet, and I'm definitely excited to see it happen.
Plus, you were talking about how we've seen Cloud9 and TSM's organizations play twice already this week, with Cloud9 winning in Academy and now Cloud9 winning in the show match. But this whole thing kind of works with game show rules, where you don't really care about the first 75% of the game show because the last round's worth more points than everything else put together. And that's kind of the state of the LCS showdown between TSM and Cloud9. Even if Cloud9 win these two, if TSM take them down on Saturday, that's the story of the whole week. So TSM still have their opportunity to come back and take vengeance, or Cloud9 could just continue cementing their absolute dominance in the LCS as just this untouchable org with everybody just playing out of their minds.
Yeah, I mean, you do kind of feel like you're at the beginning of building one of those dynasties once again, because the level of dominance has been so big. So excited to see where they can go from here. Once again, thank you to all of the players for getting up there and playing on these show matches. I know it's definitely stressful, especially if you haven't played the game in a long time. And I know that people are going to get flamed regardless, because there's so many fans that are passionate for both of these teams and about this matchup. But, please be kind to each other.
Anybody that's flaming any of these players is some Silver 4 guy in Twitch chat who's trying to just talk some game because he can't play some game, if you know what I mean. For everybody else out there who enjoyed the show match, I hope this was as much fun for y'all as it was for me. To all the players playing in it, thank you guys just a ton. This was an awesome trip down memory lane that we got to experience and be a part of. It was a super cool way to kick off Friday Night League. And now we're going to take a break. But once we return, Dyrus and Hai are going to be joining the desk to break down that win. And as we go, a reminder that modern iterations of these teams are clashing in the second game tomorrow. So game number 2, Saturday, be there or be square. And we'll catch you right back here after the break.
I'm very happy that we made it to the finals, but our goal was to win PAX Prime.
Championship game between the most dominant team in the LCS history and the team that's dominated North America since Season 1. It's Cloud9 versus Team Solo Mid.
They've never lost a playoff game in North America.
First time for everything.
And he's gotta hit the Nexus with their eyes on the Nexus. Their eyes on the Summer Split.
It feels pretty damn good, dude. They're our good friends, and we took them down.
I think C9 will definitely be really, really rough games.
He's using that aggressively. The ignite, the shade, and the kill. Bjergsen killed everyone this year. He could not kill Hai a single time.
I'm playing for pride. We haven't lost to them in playoffs, and I don't want to start now.
This is the third straight split that has come down to these two teams. Turtle on the triple, Turtle on the quadra. TSM goes the full 5 and takes down Cloud9. They have finally done it. They have defeated Cloud9 in the playoffs.
This trophy is currently TSM's, and I really don't want them to keep it.
Winning the trophy has always been TSM's legacy.
And they will do it once again. The consecutive wins for Team Solo Mid.
When I first joined the team, that was the most, hyped up match was facing C9.
Cloud9 versus TSM. We've said it before. Such a historic rivalry between these two squads. So many battles between them.
They're going to give up the championship.
For Cloud9.
We've denied them their trophy so many times that I'm sure the organization is really salty.
I'm thinking about TSM today.
Cross it always feels nice going up against TSM and being able to win against them.
I feel like we almost always come out on top, but they are always a really strong team, and they're always kind of our nemesis or our rival.
These are the kinds of games that divide friends and fans. Everyone is ready for C9 versus TSM.
You know what time it is right now? It's C9 time, dude.
From Licorice, he's looking to just body slam Bjergsen.
I'm just thinking, why is TSM even being compared to them right now?
I'm just saying here, but TSM has twice as many trophies as C9.
Niski, my boy Niski. This guy's insane.
Well, we have Bjergsen, and they don't.
Here comes the Azir shuffle. Gets 1, gets 2, all 3 are gone.
TSM may have resurrected their 2016 roster, but it's not going to work. Shutting up TSM chants never gets old.
Nothing really beats C9 versus TSM.
Welcome back, everyone, to Friday Night League. We appreciate you bearing with us as we worked through some technical difficulties to get you here right now on the State Farm Analyst Desk. And we have none other than Hai and Dyrus to join us in doing so. First of all, thank you so much for joining us here on the broadcast, but I'm going to go to Hai first, reflecting on the game that we just witnessed. You get to be the winning representative of the Cloud9 side. What was your reaction when you found out that this show match was going down and that you were going to be able to participate in it?
I was pretty excited for it, to be honest. I don't remember the last time I played with the other four together. Like, I've played on and off, like, different games with Sneaky, Meteos, Balls, and Lemon, but never, like, us five together. So I was pretty excited for that. And if I'm going to be honest, I was looking forward to landing versus Reggie. I felt like it had been really funny, for lack of a better, if you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
But Voyboy is, clearly still plays a lot of solo queue every day and is a bit tougher than I had anticipated.
You thought you were going to be able to just slap Reggie around for her whole laning phase?
Yeah, man. People kept saying he's just a Plat 2, Chaka 1 trick. So sounds like I could have a good time versus that. I don't know.
Sadly, you didn't get the chance to do so, but on the opposite side for TSM, Dyrus, you got to slot in here in the top lane once again. And if we look at the way the game played out, some of those moments may feel a bit familiar to you and audiences.
Yeah, it played out just as you expected. The moment I saw 5 people top at level 1, I was just like, well, this is happening again. I wanted to.
E.
It was either flash early and then get killed later, or just flash after and pray that Lemon misses his root. And then after that, they came top at level 5, and I feel like if I wasn't so rusty, I would have actually killed one, but it turned out fine anyway.
Yeah, I mean, despite all that, you did get moments later for a little bit of revenge.
Yeah, we surprisingly, like, a lot of the fights actually looked really good, but
You mean just this fight, right? Because wasn't this the only fight that went well for you guys?
There was some bits and pieces, but the game flipped pretty fast. It the difference in play showed pretty quickly.
I didn't get to watch the streams from your perspective for C9, but apparently in the Reddit thread, someone was claiming that you were saying don't end the game yet, Hai, because you wanted to kill Dyrus one more time. Is that true?
Alright, I said don't end the game, but I was not the one that said
I know for a fact you guys were playing like that entire game. You wanted to enforce that meme so hard.
I'll take fault for the level 1. I did call that the gank you top level 1 before the game started, but Meteos was the one that said to not end the game to keep killing Dyrus.
I know you guys are. Whatever. I still came out with a positive KD in the end, so whatever.
I'm sorry, buddy.
That's a dub for me.
That's what matters in the end, right? I mean, if you're looking over at the Cloud9 side, a lot of y'all ended up bringing picks that you're known for in the past. All except one, I believe, were signature picks for all of you. So, Hai, did you go into this knowing you wanted to make sure the memes of old were alive and bring some of that fan service to it, even if it meant killing Dyrus right off the bat?
Right. People want to watch this match because they want to, like, reminisce on what happened, right? So if I were to pick someone random, like Azir or, in Balls' case, Silas, it wouldn't really make sense. So I wanted to pick something that people would enjoy watching again. So we tried to do our Rumble, Zac, Zyra, Ashe, Zed comp, but they kind of banned 2 of our champions. So I think our bans were better.
TSMXD?
That's just yeah.
What's up with that, Dyrus? Why'd you guys ban the signature champs? Is it like, oh, this is a classic show match because we would have banned them back in the day too, right?
Well, you say it's a classic show match, but we have Voy. not to like say anything bad about Voy, but like he came in to play for us, and he wanted to be like, most people are expecting us to lose, which we did, and he kind of wanted to like show them that we could still win, and there is some glimmers of hope, but we ended up banning Rumble because it's Balls, and we ended up banning Zac because you have Meteos, so that was like also tribute to it. We banned it because we knew you guys would probably pick it.
We have to update the graphics a little bit because we thought that Balls was unranked, but apparently also on stream, Hai, he said that he was actually Challenger last split with a secret Rumble-only account.
Voy told me before the game, oh, by the way, Balls still plays the game. I'm like, what? I play like once a month. What do you want from me?
Yeah, he has like some secret Smurf that he plays on. He said he was challenger last season, so I don't know if he's been playing a lot this season, but he plays more than Dyrus, that's for sure.
Yeah, on the side of TSM, Dyrus, you were just saying that you have played once a month. Maybe there's some scouting done by Voyboy. Did you all discuss beforehand, kind of looking into the players on the opposite side to see who else was keeping up with the game, or go in a bit more blind?
No, we actually went in blind. The moment they banned Tryndamere, though, I was like, okay, yeah, they've looked at my match history.
That was actually just random because we're trying to ban out TSM XD. So Lemon just had banned Tryndamere, but then apparently Sneaky was like, wait, doesn't Dyrus actually main Tryndamere? And we're like, ah, shit, our bad.
Oh, okay. Well,
yeah, that wasn't planned.
Yeah, whatever. I mean, I probably wouldn't have died as much, but you know.
Who plays Tryndamere, right? Like, come on.
Dude,
we didn't expect that.
Dude, I never. If you look at my match history, it's all. The only thing is Tryndamere that's positive win rate. Everything else is negative, and I'm in Diamond 3.
It's the best mute all, go perma split push, don't listen to anyone. Like that's the OG one.
It's the best one of the best champions to play if you're trying to relearn mechanics, because you just auto attack. He just has a lot of basic stuff and straightforward stuff.
It sounds like y'all just had a bunch of fun, that being the forefront of your focus for the show match, as expected. But of course, this is all about the legacies of these organizations, both of you being a part of the early days, and then now both of these teams still competing in the LCS. Hi, you had such a role as a leader for Cloud9 back in the day and a shot caller. Have you been keeping up with their progression as they are now the dominant team in the LCS, and what do you make of the consistency and the fighting that they have done to keep this side of the rivalry alive?
Obviously, Cloud9 has been dominating in the LCS this split and the last split. They're currently undefeated right now, I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken. So it's awesome to see that, you know, Jack has been able to build a team that can get championships again. I know he's been feeling pretty down because they went 5-6 years without one. And now that he has a team again that is like winning on top of doing well at Worlds, I'm sure he's extremely happy to have like built a strong team.
And on the side of Dyrus, I want to get your thoughts as well. I know that you've been streaming, playing a lot of different variety of games, and then clearly still coming in here representing TSM. And even on your exit from the scene, you noted that you always want your fans and everyone to continue supporting TSM. So what has the journey been like for you now on the supporting side as opposed to the stage side?
Ooh, that's a loaded question. I guess I've just been relaxing and sitting back, and you know, I'm always happy to see TSM win from time to time, but I mean, in the end, I'm just waiting for the day that they make it to Worlds and like do really well. That's like the thing I've been waiting for. Like if they ever go to Worlds and they're in like top 4, then I'm actually gonna fly out and bring like a TSM flag and all that. I'll be like a mascot or something. But until that day comes, I'm just waiting and you know, just sitting back.
And I mean, your boy Bjerg is still over there for TSM, and I think you'd be happy to know he still has those sights for himself and the team as well to go and have that Worlds kind of performance. So being that the team now is a mixture of people you've played with, both in the staff section as well, but some new faces coming into it, Dyrus, is it weird seeing that and kind of how much of it's involved, even though there's certain elements that you're still familiar with, like Bjergsen?
What's the weird part? I'm sorry.
So, I mean, seeing like people that you still play with, like Bjergsen, being here at the forefront of TSM, but then there's still these revolutions of rosters. So I'm just wondering if, considering you had such tenure with TSM for so long, if it feels strange as a player and a veteran when looking at a team and kind of watching how the roster has evolved since your time there.
I think the only really weird thing is that Doublelift joined TSM, because Doublelift was always one of the people that was a nemesis for TSM because of CLG. So it's like Michael Jordan going to baseball or something. I don't know, like something ridiculous like that. That was just so far-fetched to me, because he's like one of the prominent like players of the time, and now he's on TSM, which is something you would have never imagined to see. Like maybe people are more used to it now, but back then it's like you never you'd never see this. As for the rest of the players, they're just like, all likable, talented players, and like, whoever's good enough that fits the bill and works together and wants to go to Worlds, then yeah, it's just whatever to me. It's not weird. I just imagine, like, as time goes on, you're just trying to build the best team and trying to get that trophy.
I know a lot of people on the C9 side were looking at this old roster and like comparing it to the new one and stuff like that. And they're saying, does C9 have 3 of the best rosters now in North America? Would you guys ever do like a Delta Fox-esque like rerun with some of the C9 guys if it was ever an opportunity?
You're asking me that, huh?
Yeah, not Dyrus. He was never a part of that.
I don't think we would do well personally. Obviously, we looked good in this game, but compare the competition. No offense or anything like that, but the collective skill level of the team on both sides are probably a lot lower than you would expect in LCS, minus a few players. So, you bring us into the LCS, I feel like we would get clapped. It's possible we don't, but I'd bet money we do. But it'd be fun. I'd be down to play. Like if, say for example, IMT or something, they want to do a match against us, I'm down to play one.
Well, it's great to know that you're down to play any day of the week, Kai, and thank you again to you and Dyrus for joining us here on the analyst desk. In the meantime, we are going to step away, but as we go, here's a historical look at the comms between the classic rosters.
All right. Let's not disappoint our fans. Just play well.
Yeah. Today is the day. I don't know about you guys, but I don't feel like losing to TSM.
Nice. Good start.
Hey, buddy. Nice. Yeah.
Just chill out and just play like you usually do.
Yeah.
These guys are way better than everyone else we played. It's just going to be a lot harder.
Reggie. Hit Nexus, Nexus. Just hit it. I got turtle. That's GG.
GG. Good shit, guys.
3-0, good job.
Cloud9 does not drop a single game in the playoffs.
I got the T. I got the S. I got the M.
Cloud9. They're 10-1 against Team Solomid Lifetime. Oh, the flash, the ignite, the chain, and the kill.
Okay, he's dead. I'm putting in.
Just jumped in.
I got turtle. On game.
Yeah, that's GG. Go for a hug, boys. Go for a hug. Nice. Holy shit. Good game.
Bjergsen killed everyone this year. He could not kill High a single time.
We need to fight here.
High stun.
Yeah, so we still need to go hard next game.
That's C9's first playoff game lost. Let's make it 3. I'm still free turtle. 2 seconds.
They have finally done it. They have defeated Cloud9 in the playoffs.
Oh, all the sides are C9 now.
Man, they're tilting me.
They're hella tilting
with the blueness. But then I see that guy with the TSM tattoo on his face, and
I like that. I'm like,
untilted!
Vive Cho'Gath. Save me, God. Oh, wow.
Come top. Did you just one-shot him? Yeah, just queued him and one-shot him. Just back. Oh, wait, kill it. Nice.
And they will do it once again. The consecutive wins for Team Solomid.
that they are a better team than their record. They did get their first win after they swapped in Xmithie and the rest of this squad. And since then, they've had some really close games that they failed to execute on. We saw those couple moments from Insanity in particular, who really did have some good games for like 99% of it, but just kind of had a couple of these big mistakes that cost the team. So we'll see if he can keep up his good play early on and kind of, I guess, curb some of the mistakes he's been making in the late game.
Yeah, that's always one of the worst feelings in League of Legends. When you're having a really good game, you're the one carrying the team. Everything feels like this is your movie, man. You're the main character. It's time to lead the squad to victory, and you just fumble it. Right there at the 1 yard line, you fumble it. But we'll see if he can pull it back together. He has the opportunity here up against Dignitas. As you said, the thing that stands out to me the most here is this is their last shot in that first round robin. This is the last remaining team for Dignitas to not just be defeated by literally everyone else in the LCS. And this is one of the teams that they do have the best chance against. 1-7 are Immortals. The desk already said it. 98.5% of their time last week was spent in a super close game state, which means there's tons of playmaking opportunities for their opponents to pull ahead. So who knows? Maybe this is the day of destiny here for Dignitas, as Kalista, Twisted Fate, Volibear, Trundle, Varus, and Ezreal are all banned away. And the first pick for Immortals is Karma.
Yeah, a little bit strange, but Karma has been kind of rising in priority a fair bit. People are playing more of the Enchanter supports in the bottom lane, and we also have seen, a number of double marksman style compositions where you bring something like Graves plus a standard marksman in the bottom lane, then you have a Karma mid to really kind of rush some of the support items and just power up those marksmen. So we'll see if that is going to be the choice here from Immortals, but it's pretty versatile. And over on the other side, Ashe is something that I really do feel like should be rising in priority. I like the Graves pick here a lot too. It goes over to kind of denying one of the types of strategies that you would go for alongside that Karma, something I did mention. So, it's obviously still possible to go towards Kindred. If you want to play another marksman jungler, I think you still can go that route, but this could just be support. And we'll see what Xmithie does want to go towards.
Well, hovering on this set here for a second, and it looks like
it is a
flex.
flex.
Selects. Yep. All right, Mr. Uwu Ears himself locked in for the side of Immortals. They're going to be bringing some pain there, some frontline power. And that means I do want to make sure Dignitas is differentiating their damage profile. Just in the show match, we got to look at how Deadman's Plate is such a desirable item on set that even when you're up against a full AP jungler in top lane, they decided to itemize it.
I don't know if that's a takeaway from the show match there, Flower.
Oh, are you sure? You sure that's not the takeaway? You should itemize Deadman's Plate into double AP?
Yeah, well, I mean, Sylas has chains. Those would be like physical damage, you would think. So thematically, it made sense.
All right, so if we're going by the lore, it made sense.
Yeah.
But right now, the two champions that Dignitas has, that Deadman's Plate is just phenomenal to rush against these guys. Now, going up against the Ornn, a lot of times we will see something different. We'll see some Blade of the Ruined King. We'll see some Black Cleaver type of action up against this guy to get some of that tank shredding power in there. And Immortals are going to go ahead and lock in one of those AD carries that we are used to seeing so very, very much of. A couple centuries worth, actually. Aphelios picked up here for the Immortals squad. And now we're into the second half of the bans. And Urgot is the ban for Dignitas, which is telling me they're thinking that set is 100% going into the jungle. They're banning out the Urgot. They want to make sure the Ornn doesn't get counterpicked.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Urgot was actually a really good pick for Alarm the other day. He was really doing very well onto it. It was into a Volibear, if I'm recalling correctly, but that's a pick he's willing to bring out. Malphite, another thing that he actually has 2 games on here, so trying to push him off some of the comfort that he has actually shown. Alorum has been one of the only guys actually playing Malphite. Most of the top laners in LCS just stick to Ornn. They're not branching out to the Maokais and the Malphites, which I do think can be very effective. But over on the Immortal side, I wouldn't mind seeing them ban out a Mage. I do think Orianna makes a lot of sense because it's magic damage is conspicuously absent, right? From the Dignitas side, you are expecting them to go towards like a Corki or an Azir or something that brings high consistent magic damage from the mid lane, and targeting one of those comfort picks here for Phoenix does make quite a bit of sense.
Picking up the Thresh here, I also think seems like a sound decision. You've got Ashe. We kind of got to see a little bit during the show match last game of what happens when Ashe doesn't have a support that can protect her well, and you just kind of got to watch Vladimir and Set go, all right, guys, where's Ashe at? It's one of those classic, like, Season 2 League of Legends videos that talks about how the best way to play Xin Zhao is wait until you find enemy Ashe and just constantly right-click him because he's not allowed to play the game if you're in the same game he is. So maybe this Thresh will be able to keep Johnsun alive to a degree that Dignitas will be happy with. Now, Apollo picking up the Aatrox there for Alorum in the top side. So that does mean the set is going into the jungle there for Xmithie. And what will the final pick of this draft be? We still could see the mid lane Karma. Okay, this is actually, I still think this is solid. I like the Syndra. Plenty of burst potential on both Graves and Ashe. Remember, Graves got the True Grit magic resistance removed a long time ago. So very vulnerable to that burst if she gets the chance to hit him. I like this.
Yeah, it's definitely not bad. You know, the Syndra pick is very blindable, as you say. You know, it is a strong, just kind of overall pick. Immortals, I think, have a lot of really kind of 1-2 item power. You know, on the early game when you have Syndra on the Spell Pen plus Ludens, you know, you have Set on jungle item, you know, Aatrox on Black Cleaver. These types of power spikes are going to be really, really effective for them. They are missing Engage pretty heavily, so that does mean that Immortals generally are going to have more pressure on them to do well in the early game. When you are playing these style of compositions where you can only really engage through flanking, generally the way you win the game is you get ahead early, you set up first at the objective, and then you circumvent your lack of engage by forcing your opponents to come and fight you at Dragons, at Rift Heralds, where you don't really need to have that hard engage. On the other side, though, Dignitas, I think, has much better scaling. Their teamfight engage is great. Obviously, you can fish for hooks and things like that, but the Ashe Arrow plus the Ornn Ultimate are going to be pretty consistent as far as actually, you know, finding members from the Immortals squad. So I do think that there's, you know, a fair bit of pressure on Immortals to do well early on.
And I'm going to go ahead and just go on record right now before the game even starts. I don't like that from Immortals. I think that all too often, teams that seem to be all aboard the struggle bus here in the LCS, teams that are struggling to find wins, the team coordination isn't where it needs to be, they draft themselves into this corner by going, let's play something that the LPL or G2 could pop off with. You're not in the LPL. You're not G2. You need engage mechanisms. Now, they might be able to prove me wrong. They might be able to say, Captain Flowers, you are dumb, and there is a reason you are not the smart caster. And if they do, I will say, all right, boys, fair enough. But I have seen this story so many times, Isaac. So many times.
Yeah. I mean, I'm with you. And here's the thing. You know, even if it does work, it doesn't always like prove that it was the smartest decision to go for, right? You know, it's fairly common, so it's not like they're doing something super, you know, out there and super weird. But I'm actually, you know, in agreement with you. I'm not really a fan of these style of compositions. I do think that the win conditions are much more narrow than that of, you know, what their opponents are playing. Dardoch is actually going Ignite. Ignite, Smite, Phase Rush.
Oh, baby,
Holy
it's Chad Graves in the jungle, looking for the PvP power, making sure that you are never going to contest him 1v1. You are never going to fight him for no Scuttle Crab. Every single time this man is on your screen, you better be walking away. At the same time, if he goofs up, the dude is 200% dead, and everybody is going to flame this summoner spell choice.
I wonder if it was an accident. You know, I'm not sure. They are going to see Dignitas going by for the invade. Thankfully for Immortals, they're starting up on the top side, so it can be some of that vertical jungling. When you do go up against this Ignite style, like, it's really uncommon, let's be honest. You do see it sometimes from things like Hecarim, Shaco, it's really common. You know, sometimes, every once in a while, you'll see someone try to do it as a bit of a cheese pick or like kind of like a 1v1 style counter. When you're doing that alongside Phase Rush, it is going to make your dueling power so good against the set. You know, there's not really much hope that set has in the early stages. If you do run into the 1v1 with Graves kiting you out and being able to drop the Ignite as well, that can be pretty brutal. And Xmithie is actually not going straight towards the red because he's actually seeing his mid lane get pushed in. He doesn't necessarily have that option, so he's just going to straight up be behind a couple camps. He's doing a full clear of his blue side of the jungle. Sure, he can go over to the Raptors, but most of those are gone. The red buff is gone. So there's not going to be a ton for him to do, and this level 1 start is already great for Dignitas, and I think the Ignite, like let's just assume it was intentional and we'll go from there. Makes sense in the context of having multiple pushing lanes. If you think that Azir can just shove out mid constantly, and you have Ashe, which is pretty strong push on the bottom side, if you think that they're going to be able to push constantly too, then maybe it makes sense. Hey, take this really aggressive summoner choice, constantly invade, look to slam this set, because we talked about how Immortals should have pressure on them to win the game early. And if they are not ahead early, and set is getting pushed behind because of this, then hey, maybe it's going to pay off.
And you could see that, as you said, Dardoch took most of those Raptors, but not all of them. So Xmithie did have to take a little bit of extra time to clear those remaining 2 away from the rest of the camp. And Dardoch now back in his own side of the jungle. His farm isn't super far ahead of Xmithie because although he did get the initial camp advantage, his pathing has had to be incredibly inefficient to go from red to red and then skip the rest of the camps and go down to his own blue. His priority on not trading back any of his buffs has rendered him without a whole lot of great early pathing to keep that lead pumping early. But now he still has plenty of camps left to farm, whereas Xmithie is waiting on those to respawn.
And that's the key, right? That is exactly what it is about. He's actually going to double scuttle him as well. Because
oh,
again,
he's getting too crabbed.
Yeah, they're constantly shoving in mid. So Insanity's not able to move. It really limits Xmithie's options when your mid lane is going to be locked in there. If you try to invade, you'll get stuff taken away. This is actually pretty smart from Xmithie, assuming that the Wolves would still be up. These players obviously are trying to track as much as possible where their opponent's path would be. You're seeing that he's going to be able to sneak something away, but the big deal here is that he double crabs him. He has more camps still to farm, and now he's right on top of Valorum.
Valorum face checking that brush, takes multiple autos on the first half at the end of the line there. So Dardoch immediately doing big favors for Lorlo up there in that top lane. As Xmithie shows up bottom side, flash into the face breaker, but he's not going to grab the stuns. Aphromoo tries to get himself away. Nice hook onto Xmithie underneath the turret. The last turret shot won't come out in time. It's both summoners from Aphro in exchange for the flash and heal from the side of Immortals.
Yeah, that was kind of just, I think, a bit of a desperation gank. It wasn't the best setup, but Xmithie knows he really has nothing to do. So he's got to try to get someone ahead on his team. He's got to try to create some sort of window of opportunity. And Alorum, they're actually stacking the wave. Because Xmithie showed down there on the bottom side, this is just absolute sadness as a top laner. When you see that wave slow pushing, when your jungler shows other side of the map, you just have to leave. You don't even get to get experience and farm here. So now Xmithie is running straight to top. He can try to get back towards this turret, but there's a TP, double TP.
It's a 2v2 that's about to become a 3v3. Dardoch still has the Ignite, keep it in mind. Dignitas were going to get themselves away. Dardoch going to be under fire. First blood over to Phoenix, and Dignitas have found the first kill of the game. Insanity will try to get himself away. Dardoch's walking out with 100 HP, and Dignitas make the play.
Nicely done. They're able to make it happen. Chunking out Xmithie and Alorum early and just try to block off that kind of path towards that tower. And meanwhile, the wave was actually good for Dignitas mid lane too. So Alorum trying to move back up, but he's getting zoned off the tower so heavily. Dardoch comes over the top, starts getting damage down on Xmithie. He still has the Ignite, he still has the phase brush. And as Alorum goes in, he's just so low that the Ignite alone, plus a little bit of Sand Soldier damage from Phoenix, was enough to get the kill. Now
Flash ain't going to do that.
That's true. Flash doesn't do damage. Why are you taking it?
Bunch of noobs out here taking Flash every game. Everybody should be taking Ignite. As Phoenix shuffles Insanity right back towards Dardoch's waiting arms and a barrel full of death. That is 2 kills for the Dignitas squad. And now they will march down into this bottom half of the river, and Dardoch should be able to take himself this first Drake. No contest.
And that is just so smart. The reason that they go for that gank, you're like, why would a Graves go for a lane gank? It's because the flash was forced up on the top side. Insanity tried to chase in to actually finish off Dardoch when they had that 3v3 up by the top lane turret. So knowing that the flash is down on him and that flash is up for Phoenix, it's essentially a guaranteed knock-in from the Azir. And then Graves just has to be there for a little bit of added damage, and that's going to be an easy-peasy kill over on Syndra. And this early game is just going terrible for Immortals.
And Dardoch is coming back to the enemy red buff, wants to make sure that Xmithie never gets to see any of these things throughout the course of the whole game. Xmithie's doing a good job at staying caught up in farm, but when you're losing all the important camps, when you're losing all those buffs, it still feels bad. Dardoch likely going to need these Krugs here to hit that level 6. If Dardoch can grab this big Krug and hit level 6 in time for this minion wave to clash, they're going to have a real bad time there. For the
yeah,
Immortals
he's
bottom
6.
lane. Okay. Let's see if they can make it happen. Dignitas still only level 5 for both bottom laners, so there's no arrow, there's no box. Dardoch's going to walk over the control ward, doesn't bother to shoot it, just kind of going to live and let live with that one. And now paths back towards what could be the mid lane. And you can see on the left side of your screen right there, top 3 in the game. Well, now Apollo went and made me a liar, but for a second there, it was top 3 in the game in terms of gold value on the side of Dignitas. This squad up over 1,000 gold.
Yeah, and Xmithie and Alorum down a couple of sad boys down at the bottom, not having a lot of gold there too.
Sad boy hours in bottom lane, just pumping Lil Peep, sitting there in the dark, playing some League of Legends.
I don't know about you, man, but anytime I play top lane and I know I'm about to get dove and the wave gets stacked and I get dove, I'm feeling pretty sad. So feeling a little bit bad for Alorum up there on the top side, and especially when you consider, you know, you're kind of drafting this early mid-game skirmish comp. Obviously, the game is not over by any means. The Dignitas, you know, has yet to be able to close out a game, so we'll see if they can make things happen with this lead. But the start is fantastic for Dignitas. Now Dardoch spotted on this Herald. Remember, he doesn't have flash, he just used dash.
Yeah, Alorum just having the right timing there, seeing that Dardoch's coming over the wall just as the ward gets placed down. Dardoch does get himself back over safely, but now this is pretty much a TY for leash moment for Immortals. They should be able to take this. I mean, Dardoch's got no flash. There's no world where he comes back into this pit and goes,
you're not
nope,
just sliding over
I
there?
want the Shelly. I don't see that happening, Isaac.
Just quick draw. Ah!
I'll ignite it.
Exactly.
No, I don't think
If only you could ignite Shelly, you know, then you'd really have the supreme objective control.
Well, unfortunately, that's not the state of the game right now, and Dignitas end up giving the Rift Herald over to their opponents. Maybe Xmithie can drop that for some plates, help get the team back in the game a little bit here in terms of gold. They're still going to have all 4 minutes of it. They managed to secure that before the 10-minute mark, so that means the entire duration is plate viable.
Ooh,
as
Alorum's
Lorlo and Dardoch, oh no, Alorum. Here comes the Ornhorn! The damage goes through, the CC comes down. There's no point in even thinking about what would happen if he got away, because the man is dead to rights. Dardoch, 2 kills, 1 assist, out farming. The Graves is off the start he wants.
Yeah, definitely having a good start there. And Dardoch and Lorlo, you know, not only have they played together in the past, they played together way back in the day on TL. These guys are good friends. They always like to play off of each other, and Dardoch has had so much success going towards Lorlo lanes in the past. So nice to see those guys reunited and having some success here in the early game. Alorum put very far behind in a matchup that you're not going to really be able to outscale or anything by any means. The Ornn is going to have more use in the team fighting, you know, more use with those ornaments, and you know, it's not a champion.
All right, Apollo's in some trouble down here at the bottom side. Xmithie drops the Rift Herald, and it's going to walk up and grab some plate money. We're seeing more players join the mix. Lorlo shows up just to take a quick lantern ride, as now Shelly's going to get popped before she even makes her way down to the turret. That was a terrible use of the Rift Herald. What in the hell was the point of that Rift Herald? He just gets summoned up, and then there's nothing. Nothing coming up afterwards.
Zoning
big
Herald.
misplay there from, I guess. That was a big misplay there from Immortals. That was a chance to try to come back into the game a little bit, use the Rift Herald, knock down the turret, get some of that bonus gold, but now it's all denied.
Yeah, it's definitely rough. I think they didn't expect Dardoch to be there. We'll see if Afram wants to go for the flash.
Okay, let's see if they can find their chance here. Dignitas using the power of the Lorlo CC, and they've got the kill onto Apollo, taking advantage of that Aphelios' vulnerabilities in the lane before he scales up, before he becomes unstoppable. Shut him down, make the plays nice and early. Dignitas are at a 2,000 gold lead, Isaac.
Yeah, I mean, they forced both the summoners early because honestly, Apollo was just sieging so aggressively. He kind of just walked up to the turret and was autoing it while Hakuo was back behind him, so they got the summoners, and then, yeah, Immortals tried to drop that Herald, and I just don't think that they were really expecting Dardoch to already be there. Then a good TP comes through, and everything is honestly looking pretty bad for Immortals early on here. Dignitas is monstrously ahead. The comp that I think is a lot easier to play out, a lot easier to execute on, and honestly outscales Immortals. So the ball is very much in their court. We'll see what they can do with it.
Ocean Rift as well. So not only is this a potential soul stack for the side of Dignitas, it's an Ocean Soul on a team that has Ornn. You're talking about how Alorum's falling behind in this matchup and how Aatrox isn't going to scale up. I can't wait till we get to see a level 13 Ornn that has upgraded Abyssal Mask and Sunfire Cape stand in the Q3 sweet spot and take 150 damage out of his 3,400 health pool, because that's going to be the story of this Ornn versus Aatrox matchup, and Immortals will have absolutely no answer to this in the side lane. Jungle Set doesn't go for Blade of the Ruined King, Black Cleaver. He's not one of these like 1v1, beat you around, smack you down type of champions. He plays more for the team. You usually see them get like a Dead Man's Plate into a Gargoyle Stone Plate. They're big initiators. They're meatballs. And this is looking rough, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's really tough because you don't have a side lane win condition truly on the side of Immortals. You're probably going to get out team fought pretty consistently. You know, there's just not a lot going for them, but they will be looking for picks. They will be, you know, trying to disengage on some of the plays, you know, from Dignitas, try to kite it out, see what you can get done. Obviously, there is still a lot of damage potential between Aphelios and Syndra, and that's what they're going to be pretty reliant on here, but the early game has not gone to plan at all for Immortals and Dignitas. You know, honestly, this is the best they've looked, I would say, in any of their games so far this split, and Dardoch coming out pretty hot.
Whoa, Dardoch will be pulled back by the Phase Breaker, but Phase Rush is more than enough to get him out of there, make sure that Immortals aren't able to finish the job. Phoenix loses the first third of his HP, but Insanity does not have enough power to burst him down, take him out there. Immortals still yet to get on the board here in this game. And as we're about to hit the 14-minute mark, as the turret plates are about to disappear, now I'm looking at what you mentioned earlier, Isaac. Can Dignitas do what they have not been able to do in so many previous games this split and actually keep that momentum going? They need to not only show that they can build these things early on, but that they can stop themselves from then throwing them away in an equally spectacular fashion.
And they're in a great spot to do it. I mean, I think it becomes pretty simple because they won their early game. They have 2 dragons. I just want to see Dignitas setting up, you know, at least a minute early. Oh, the hook is going to connect.
Over the wall they go. 2 versus 1. Hakuo the target. This is not a tanky champion, and that is free money for Dignitas. Johnson putting 300 in the pocket.
Yeah, nice catch. That's what it can happen when you're actually just recalling on a ward like that. You know, pretty lazy recalls from Immortals, and Apollos did go through, but Alorum now in trouble up here on this top side again.
No, again, it just keeps happening. Alorum has no way out of this, and Dardoch and Lorlo are working together so well here in this top side.
They're looking great. They're just absolutely crushing Alorum. He even flashed there, but Lorlo still tagged him with the redirect of the ultimate, got that knock-up, and yeah, I just want to see Dignitas set up, continue to push towards this soul. You have full control in this game. No reason that they should be losing dragons at this point. You know, you can have soul in the next 12 minutes or so here, you know, even 10 minutes, and depending on how fast they take them on spawn, you know, how quickly they're going to be moving towards that. But definitely they shouldn't be giving up any of those dragons, because, you know, you take this next one in the minute 30, and then you're going to force your opponents to come to you, you know, for that potential final fight 5 minutes thereafter. And I really want to see Dignitas continue to look for that.
And this is just such a tough situation for Immortals, especially with that Herald now being picked up by the side of Dignitas. This time around, Dardoch was not interrupted when he took it. They made sure that they got the Herald off the back of making a play top. So now they can use that Shelly as a distraction somewhere else to guarantee they get that third Drake, make sure they put themselves on soul point, and just continue putting the screws to Immortals as we progress through this game and get ever closer to what looks like it should be the first Dignitas win of the split, commanding a 3,000 gold lead with the scaling power of an Ornn and an Azir at 16 minutes. That's 2 thumbs up from me, Isaac. That's exactly what I would like to see on one of my teams when I'm playing League of Legends.
Yeah, they are looking great, and here they are trying to deny some of this vision. They haven't fully swept it out, of course, but you know, Dardoch just base. He's coming back. He has 2 pinks. You can see pinks in a lot of the inventory here of the bot lane, etc. So they are going to start to try to clear out all this vision together. They are looking to do a really quick dragon take and try to get it, you know, even much faster than that, you know, 10 minutes or so that I was talking about earlier. You know, they obviously could do both on spawn and have soul here in like 6 minutes, which is pretty much GG. When you have Ocean Soul plus the front line, the opponents just aren't really able to actually punch through the Ornn at all in that case, and they're on it. It is spotted, but I don't even know if Immortals can really do anything. Like, Smithy's not even looking like he's going to be there in time to even try.
Arrow fired over the wall just to make sure nobody was going to try to come in there and stop him. And there you go, 3 Drakes for Dignitas. The gold lead has shrank down to about 2,000 now. Immortals walking up here. Xmithie moving forward, but I don't really see what the opportunity could even be for him to find. Xmithie is aware that Dardoch is over the wall. Maybe if Dardoch sticks around on his lonesome as he tries to get himself away with the ulti, but now Xmithie using the flash to try to bring him back. And when your set flash ulti doesn't result in a kill in a 3v1, that's not it. That's not it.
This is definitely looking rough. Dardoch just procs the phase rush and just scoots on out of there. Even able to drop the Ignite. I do believe he's playing Nimbus Cloak, so Ignite for speed up, relatively short cooldown there. That plus phase rush, he just slides on out of there, no problem. And yeah, that's flash, that's ult. You are down 2 levels to this Graves, who is getting ridiculously strong, even with Zerker Greaves, which you don't usually see in competitive play. It's more of like the solo QS style where you're really snowballing and want that extra attack speed. And Immortals, like, I know the gold isn't that far behind, but I just feel like the game's over, to be honest with you.
It's the compositions, right? It's not the fact that the game's 2,500, 3,000 gold apart. It's the fact that you've got Aatrox with no advantage whatsoever over an Ornn that is 1 level away from getting 3,000 gold's worth of free stats. It's the fact that Azir has been able to free farm and is just scaling up as much as he wants. It's the fact that the Graves is just about at Black Cleaver here, and your set hasn't really found the opportunity to get these engages he's looking for. Everything's just coming up Dignitas here in this mid-game as they're looking to push down mid lane and secure their 2nd turret of the match. Let's see if they have the power to do it. A couple more auto attacks onto this are going to be required even after the Shelly charge. Arrow comes through. Insanity will be kept safe there. Mikhail's Crucible purchased by Hakuo to get rid of that stun and make sure the Immortals mid laner stays alive.
I think that's a really smart buy from Hakuo, but yeah, I mean, everything you said, plus the fact that they don't have any side laning or engage to make it even worse, right? So it's just like, there's not a lot of ways you can actually win this game besides just hoping that your opponents mess up repeatedly, like over and over and over, pretty much. You know, this is not even one of those games where it's like you get one pick and then you win the game. They are so far behind and are going to have to be fighting against Soul the whole way through. So this is, a really, really rough one from Immortals. I think that Dignitas deserves a lot of credit for how they actually played this one out. I think the level 1 start from Dardoch, the invade, utilizing this phase rush, Ignite Graves, has been really, really good. Phoenix, as well as Johnson, just constantly pushing in waves, trying to extend that lead for Dardoch, allowing him to have the freedom to go wherever he wants, to get whatever he wants done. And he has been the recipient of a lot of that help and made it pay off as, he's sitting 3-0-2. He's going to have his Black Cleaver here very shortly. We'll definitely have it before the next dragon does come up for that Soul fight. And I think at that point, we're just going to see Immortals commit to a fight and pray it goes their way.
Unfortunately, I think Immortals are about 4 items on Aphelios away from being able to win a team fight. Looking at this game, I'm not even just trying to be cheeky or sassy in saying this. Looking at where the gold is, looking at how far ahead Dignitas are in this match, I think 6-item Aphelios pulling off some crazy 200 years team fight is the Immortals win condition.
Yeah.
Other than that, I don't see where it comes from.
I actually don't, I still think that they probably would just lose. If you're talking 6 items versus 6 items, I still think that they don't really have much of a chance, unless it's a really big misplay from their opponents, like they're all 5 stacks. That's fair. Get an Infernum Ultimate or something. Because, one of the things with Aphelios is that your range is fairly low, and it can be difficult to actually fight into champions like Azir, who can actually create these zones of, control with the Sand Soldiers, because he has so much more range than you, and you're always going to be, at threat of getting flash flayed or shuffled in and things like that. So it's actually really difficult, I think, to play this one out for Aphelios, but we'll see if Immortals can get anything done. Next dragon, 40 seconds, and that's where Dignitas is looking for Soul, which pretty much would close out this game. Immortals has a chance, maybe if they can find, a pick with Insanity, hit someone with Scatter the Weak, burst someone down to start the fight, then you're starting to see some opportunity.
And honestly, Immortals feel a little bit more comfortable pushing into this bottom side river than they otherwise would, because Johnson just split the uprights there with the arrow, wasn't able to find a mark with that one, so they know that the arrow's not around to set up one of those picks for the side of Dignitas. So Immortals, though, then immediately have to re-yield that position because once everybody shows up from the side of Dignitas, they know that a 5v5 does not favor them. There's that Ocean Drake landing in the pit, spawning up, and as soon as it is available, it is now aggro. Dignitas looking to go for this Ocean Soul, daring Immortals to come stop them, and Lorum getting himself grabbed by the death sentence, has to flash away, and now the fight's going to be breaking out. Damage coming through, Dardoch going down. Ladies and gentlemen, Immortals have found a pick. They have found a way into the fight. They go for it and are rewarded, but can Dignitas find their counterattack now? Ornhorn able to find the knock-up onto the IMT top laner. A nice death sentence coming down onto Xmithie, but that's going to be cleansed away by the Mikhails. Immortals now trying to find a little bit more damage. Johnson will barely walk away from this one. Phoenix without a lot of mana to work with, but is trying to command that range that Azael was talking about earlier. Dignitas do not want to fully relinquish control over this area. Aphromoo and Phoenix sticking around. Johnson has TP. He's looking to rejoin. Remember, with Dardoch being the one dead, Dignitas has no smite secure. They have no objective control through summoner spells here. Alorum over the wall, forced to dash back out. Immortals, the same as Dignitas, not willing to concede this territory. Neither side will walk away from this one.
Problem. Insanity never got to base and TP back, so he's actually still low. Lorlo and Johnson refilled. Their jungler is here first, so looking like it's just going to be Dignitas Soul.
There it is. Secured by Johnson, as you're seeing Lorlo zone everybody from Immortals away, but they're being zoned right into the Shadow Realm now, ladies and gentlemen. There's the Soul, there's 3 kills, there's the victory march towards the Baron Pit from Dignitas. That is all she wrote. Sign on the dotted line and put this one away.
Yeah, this one is very, very over at this point. Immortals honestly just basically put up no fight this game whatsoever. It felt like their draft was really, really off to me. They left themselves very few win conditions. Dignitas closed the door on those within the first couple minutes of the game, it felt like. And this one is honestly a slaughter, which is a shock to see that it is our winless team who is actually slamming Immortals after a lot of people were actually pretty hot on Immortals, you know, all things considered. You know, feeling like at the very least, they were significantly better than their record did show. You know, this roster swapped in. They actually, you know, took a win immediately. Then they lost to Cloud9, but they were competitive against, you know, TL. They were competitive against, I want to say it was like EG too. So they have had some very close games, and to go from that to playing against this team that everyone's kind of looking at as the gimme game is getting flipped completely on its head.
And that's one of the things that I think deserves criticism a lot, particularly of middle-of-the-pack LCS teams usually, is consistency. It doesn't matter if you can take games off of the top teams and stay close with
16
them.
versus 12, by the way.
Oh my goodness, it is actually a 4-level difference, as Alorum is winning out in this battle here at the start. he will get away, but now the rest of Dignitas has showed up, and no, the point I was making as they're just going to bulldoze all these structures down, does it really matter if you can stay competitive with some of the better teams if at the same time you can lose 10-1 against the worst team in the league? There's some serious consistency issues there that these teams have to be able to address, because as you're talking about, it just seems kind of crazy that this is the reality that we're in after the week that Immortals had last time with those close games. As the Ornhorn sounds off, the turret goes down, the death sentence comes out, Insanity gets away, now the counterattack's coming through, Dardoch barely getting himself back, Phoenix goes on a killing spree, Aphromoo also just limping away from the fight, but nobody on Dignitas is down. What is that, ladies and gentlemen? That's right, it's an Ocean Soul, and those health bars are just going to continue to climb back up slowly but surely. Immortals will try to hold the line, but the death sentences do not stop. Aphromoo is dialing these in today, and there you go. Phoenix able to throw that enemy AD carry right back to the rest of his team. Insanity will try to escape from Lorlo. He'll stay alive, but now he is separated from the remaining Nexus turret and his remaining 2 teammates. Dignitas trying to stick around, and in this one right here, Dardoch making sure to interrupt it back, giving the Teemo thumbs up. See you later, bro. As Dignitas are on to the Nexus now. Xmithie will try to hold the line with the Haymaker shield, but he will not hold for long. Insanity is taken down by the end of the line, and it is just that for Immortals. It took 9 games, but Dignitas will finally secure their first win of the summer split.
And a really good game, to be honest, from them. All credit to them. Yes, I think Immortals made mistakes. Yes, I think Immortals did kind of mess up in draft. But Dignitas capitalized on every single mistake that Immortals did make. I think their level 1, their early game planning, the Graves of Ignite actually worked out so damn well here from Dardoch. He played great, really paired up well with Lourlo. And I've got to give credit where credit's due, not only to Dardoch, but also to Phoenix, because I was very critical of Phoenix after his TF game last week. I think that was a really, really poor performance from a guy who has been around in the league for such a long time. And I think he was a huge part of why they actually won here today. He didn't really make any mistakes. Both the roster swaps that actually did happen from Dignitas were Dardoch and Phoenix. And if these guys can play at that level, then we can see, I think, a lot better things coming from Dignitas going forward.
Yeah, it's all about that consistency that I was talking about, though. This team needs to make sure that they're staying along this path. They need to continue with this proactive early game, having a set strategy, and then making sure that they're not making those mistakes that we have rightfully criticized them for in the past. Once it gets to the mid game, once it gets to the late game, Dignitas have shown now they know how to win some League of Legends. So let's see them keep it up moving forward into the second round robin and second half of this split. But we're going to go ahead and take a break right now. Catch us back here afterwards, where Riv is going to meet up with a Verizon post-game interview to hear from Dardoch about the much-needed Dignitas win. Don't go anywhere.
You playing Smite on Skarner now or Ignite?
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Verizon post-game interview. I'm Riv, and I am joined by Dignitas's Dardoch after their victory over Immortals, putting a win on the scoreboard. I just got to say, overall, man, it's been a while. How are you? How have you been?
I'm doing all right, all things considered. I mean, our standings aren't in the best spot, but at least atmosphere and how we're feeling in general is on the up and up.
That's great to hear. Seeing this one come in, what are your thoughts on today's game? It was clean, and this is a perfect time to do it as we come up to the halfway point of the split.
I mean, in general, it was pretty clean. We had some mistakes. I mean, my mistake on Herald was pretty bad, giving them Herald after our initial lead. But other than that, I think our macro was pretty good.
Awesome. Did you? So we got to talk about the Graves coming into today. Was there a reason you picked it, or were you just coming in saying this is Ignite, Graves, Phase Rush, Nimbus Cloak? We're lacing up.
Honestly, we kind of had a really good preparation, so I was mentally prepared to play Graves if it was like a good draft scenario for it. And after they first picked Karma, it looked pretty good, so just had to roll with it.
When we first came in and we were just kind of chatting before the interview, you said that a lot of your games were going this way in scrims and whatnot. What do you think the disconnect was at the beginning of the split that puts Dignitas where they are right now?
Well, I can't speak for the other roster, obviously, but at least as far as our results go for the last 2 weeks, I think, or for the last week rather, I think we're a generally pretty inconsistent team. So that's just a product of us not having much practice together yet. But I think our goal should just be to show better performances every week. And, it is top 8 for playoffs this year. So it's not going to be, out of our grasp.
Right. Now, I mean, it looks like things are going well so far. Hopefully the games can keep going this way. A few more questions for you. Who are you currently watching right now to up your game, be better? Who's on the front of your screen when you're just downtime and training?
My favorite player right now around the world to watch is Kanavi. I think he's by far the most mechanically sound, aggressive jungler around the world right now. So he's been my favorite since the beginning of summer so far. Other than that, I watch a ton of LPL in general. That's like my favorite region to watch. It's definitely my style of gameplay. I try to fit in some LPK in there as well.
Very cool, very cool. And final question for you, Dardoch. Who takes it tomorrow, Cloud9 or TSM?
Cloud9. It's not very close.
Well, all right, Dardoch. Thank you so much for joining me. Congrats on the win, man.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
All right, everybody. We're going to take a moment now and throw it back to the State Farm analyst desk so they can break that one down.
Thank you so much, Rivington. What a great opportunity to hear some words from Dardoch, because let's face it, he was very influential in the win that Dignitas just received, their first win of the entire split.
Hugely influential. When it comes to objective control, we always pin the responsibility, or at least teams love to make the jungler be the one that is asserting in themselves as, hey, you got to be here on time, we got to go for these plays. And despite IMT being pretty bad this game, I think they played pretty terribly, Dignitas just crushed it when it came to punishing them. So knowing that you could rotate to the top side and had Phoenix basing for the teleport was a great play. Again, knowing that the Syndra doesn't have flash here, being able to then flash over and put her behind the ultimate to make sure that Graves can continue to get kills. You really saw that the synergy between Dardoch and Lorlo was just abusing Xmithie, Lorem, and Insanity. So this is a super promising game from one of the teams that gave Cloud9 one of the better runs for their money.
You go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, a big thing that stood out to me for Dardoch this game is, like, he doesn't have easy to gank lanes. Like, they don't have much setup. Like, Ashe Thresh in the bot lane has really good setup for sure, but honestly, the Aatrox Ornn matchup is pretty difficult to deal with in terms of ganks because Aatrox is pretty slippery. He has like healing, Ornn doesn't have a lot of damage. And then the Azir Syndra matchup, like we noticed, yeah, they were able to punish the Syndra no flash, which is really, really good to abuse that timing. But these definitely weren't, just walk up, the laner stuns, and then Dardoch gets a kill. Like he kind of had to work for it.
And it starts from the level 1. Like, this is one of those games where it felt like the team had a very coordinated vision of what they were trying to do, which is always cool to see for one of the junglers. It's like, I need this, I need that. I want to go in and get his red buff, and then I'll go to my red buff, and we'll 3-buff him. And then from there, he set the team back up. He went to each lane, revisited all of them. Even in the bot lane, they had one of those lantern ganks over the wall. So it was really a team effort, and you saw that in the damage graph. Pretty much everyone was contributing a fair amount to that win. It was keyed off of Dardoch, but I think everyone on the team played well.
Yeah, great to see some decisive decision-making coming out of the jungler, and even going into the split, Dardoch had mentioned he was excited to play with Lourlo once again. Obviously, a lot of synergy happening there. But on the opposite side, Crumbs, it felt like because of that early game pressure that Dignitas was applying, there wasn't much that Xmithie in the side of Immortals could do to respond to it.
Yeah, I did not like what I saw out of Immortals. I was hyped for them because of the closeness of the last 4 games. They were doing so well, but then this just did not look like that team at all. They were that force gank from Xmithie in the bottom lane. The way that he got manhandled around the crabs was really just so uncharacteristic from those last few games. And then when they started just dying in the top lane continually, when you have a Karma failures bottom lane, you know that game's falling apart. So they need to just prepare a little bit better, because it was clear that Dignitas was by far the more prepared team here.
And I'm sure Dignitas are ecstatic to get the first win under their belts, and Immortals will continue to strive for improvement throughout the rest of the time. But meanwhile, before we go to a break, everyone, MasterCard is collaborating with the LCS to award lucky fans with a couple personalized experiences. One winner will get to play and learn with Freak from the comfort of their own home, and 5 other participants get a Q&A session with Dash himself. All you have to do is use and save your MasterCard in the League client. Contest runs until July 19th. And for more information, check out the full article on lolesports.com. On the other side of the break, we have 100 Thieves versus FlyQuest.
Many of us are working from home and adjusting to new coworkers. Coworkers who borrow supplies and always interrupt meetings. A gift can help. And when you use your MasterCard, you have security benefits that keep you protected, so your purchase ends up in the right hands or mouth. And your staff can start something priceless.
Welcome back to Friday Night League here for our next game of the night. We got FlyQuest going up against 100 Thieves.
Yeah, it should be a good one, and looking forward to see if we get any more Ignite junglers, I don't know
Oh, yes.
Flowers is ready to go with the Ignite Skarner tech now, No, not the Ignite Skarner? Is that you? I mean, it is more Chad, right? Like, I thought that was supposed to be the thing, right?
Yeah, except for the part where you're up against any champion that has a dash, and now you can't flash on him, and you're just like, well,
Sounded
I'm
like
a lobster.
excuses. Which between the two, which one does damage, Flash or Ignite?
After we're done with LCS tonight, you want to play a game of League of Legends, and I'll be your jungler, and I'll play Smite Ignite Skarner.
I would love to. It sounds delightful.
All right, that's what we're doing after this then. But for now, we have a different task in front of us. It's FlyQuest going up against 100 Thieves. 100 Thieves down there around the same part of the standings that Immortals and Dignitas are trying to climb their way up from the bottom here as we're about done with the first half of the split. FlyQuest much more up in a comfortable position, sitting at 5-3 right now. You would expect them to beat 100 Thieves here based on their win-loss records so far. We'll see if they can bring that win-loss up to 6-3. Twisted Fate, Graves, Aphelios, Volibear, Trundle, and Varus all band away.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how FlyQuest comes out today. They were like a hair's breadth away from actually beating TL last Sunday, I want to say it was. Maybe it was Saturday. But in their final game of last weekend, it was kind of that throw around Baron by MASH. One critical error really did cost them so much of the game. But they're a team that's known for their consistency, right? So you want to see them bounce back. You want to see them take games against teams that are behind them in the standings. Most people weren't too dissuaded by that one mistake from FlyQuest and still have them pretty high in the power rankings. Most people I've talked to still have them, as the second or third best team in the league. So 100 Thieves is going to be in tough against them. They have, their roster swaps in here as well. Contracts and Poom, making their debut for the team last weekend. And it's been interesting to see some of the teams down near the bottom making changes. I am glad that they're not just kind of like autopiloting it and playing the season out, clearly trying to mix things up and see if they can get something going.
And I've had a lot of fun watching Poom so far. I think he's had a pretty exciting entrance to the LCS. He's had a couple cool highlight plays in his games, and I want to see if he can continue popping off here in this game. FlyQuest grabbing themselves Ezreal, Orianna, and Olaf in the first half of the draft. 100 Thieves picking up Syndra, Kalista, and Set. So we've got 80 carries, we've got mid laners, we've got what is most likely jungler for FlyQuest and could be jungler or top laner, or could be support for 100 Thieves as well. Kalista with Set support to throw him in there like a big old bowling ball. Let's see how the draft shakes out afterwards, though. Lee Sin banned out by FlyQuest. They know they've got their jungler. They're assuming that the Set is not the enemy jungler. They want to keep contracts off of a playmaker there, and 100 Thieves are going to ban away the Ornn.
Yeah, the biggest thing I have my eyes on already is that 100 Thieves not only took away Set, but banned Ornn. Those are the two most played by Solo by far. He only actually has one game outside of those two champions, and it is one Maokai game. So, trying to focus Solo a bit here. Solo has been a very strong performer throughout this split for FlyQuest, and really ever since he came in for the team, in lieu of Viper in playoffs last split, he looked pretty good. So, 100 Thieves trying to set up someday for success, trying to take away some of these comfort picks, and it may be someday on the Set, but as you say, it could be flexed around here a fair bit. Contract's going to be bringing out the Nidalee, which Nidalee has not had a lot of success, I would say, in the LCS. It has kind of been struggling. It is a very powerful early game champion, but it is one of those where a lot of people are actually struggling to close out games with it. It gets much more difficult to actually play this champion out in the later stages, and in the early stages, it's very much about playing in your opponent's face, trying to steal away camps, trying to keep them down as that opposing jungler, and then later on you kind of transition more towards this supportive role generally. A lot of people are going Athenes, second item, and just kind of sitting back and playing more of a supportive role.
I was so concerned for a second when I saw FlyQuest hovering over Tahm Kench, and I was thinking, you have Ezreal. Please, for the love of God, don't pick this champion. We need to see some engaged potential. And FlyQuest did draft themselves the Rakan, so we have some engage there. I was a bit concerned we were going to see something like we saw in the previous game where there wasn't a lot of engage on one side here. But with Rakan now locked in, they've got that. They're taking the Renekton into the top side. He will be up against Jace, and it is Set support. Bowling ball Set here with the Kalista.
very interesting. This 100 Thieves comp, is a lot of early game, mid game power. But again, it feels like they're putting themselves a little bit in the Immortals' shoes, where it's a difficult comp to actually play out. I will say they have more win conditions because you can split push with the Jace. You can look for poke obviously with Ezreal, with the Jace and the Nidalee. So they have some ability to actually play out in multiple ways there. Nidalee, I just double checked, actually is winless in the LCS. It is 0-5, so no one has actually won yet on the champion. And FlyQuest over on the other side, this just feels much more like, Death Ball style League of Legends. Group up, throw in this Rakan to ult and CC people up with the Olaf with, the Renekton flying in after, and Orianna Shockwave, Ezreal Ultimate to actually follow that up. So really good engage on that side, really good team fighting. And I do think that 100 Thieves have the ability to win this game, but it does feel, again, very dependent upon early game execution.
And I'm going to levy the same complaint against their composition that I levied against Immortals last time. If you're one of the top teams in this, like if these drafts were reversed, if it was FlyQuest as a team that, like you said, a lot of people are looking at them as number 2, number 3, like in that upper echelon of teams in the LCS, I would be more okay with them taking a Nidalee Jace type of composition than I am with 100 Thieves doing it. This is the pro play equivalent of LS telling players that want to climb to pick Annie. Because you need to play something with simple, straightforward execution. And this isn't flame, this is facts. If you're low
Maybe
in the
it's some
standings,
flame,
It's
a little
not,
bit of
well,
both.
it's only flame because Annie uses fire. That's
educational.
It's lore flame. It's the end of the day, what I'm saying, Isaac, is that if you're at 2 and 6, you're there because there are execution errors, and that execution needs to be made straightforward. And Nidalee is not going to result in a straightforward late game fight type of composition that is then going to give you the best chance to win. Maybe they can prove me wrong. I said last game, I welcome being proved wrong. I'm not going to repeat all the stuff that I said then. But if they can prove me wrong, I welcome it. We will see.
And I will say, to play devil's advocate a bit, I largely do agree with your points, but just to devil's advocate it, if you're saying, hey, we're the worst team, FlyQuest is really consistent, FlyQuest is really good at late game team fights, we will lose if we get there, let's all in on early game, right? And I can respect that if that is the idea here. Go Kalista, go Set, Nidalee, is a really fast, good counter jungler early on in the game. Jace should be winning up on that top side in the 1v1. Try to just slam lanes, even Syndra against the Orianna, and maybe that's the idea. So we'll see if they're going to be able to execute it. And also, the other caveat is the difference between this, also in the Immortals comp, is that they can actually split push, right? So there's more than just team fighting to win this game because you do have the Jace. So interested to see how they can pull this off. And mid lane gank here from Contracts.
Contracts shows up with the Nidalee, gets some red buff auto attacks into the damage going through, and first blood over to 100 Thieves, making it happen.
Really well done. He's got to get out of there, though. Santorin does know he's around here.
TP also coming in from Power of Evil, hasting back into the fight, but FlyQuest with some really poor choices early on in this game. They give away a second one. Ryoma lets them know that this is fine, as well as a distressed Crab. And man, 100 Thieves could not have asked for a better start.
Yeah, that is rough. This is just a nice early gank after taking away the enemy red buff. But Power of Evil, you need to flash the spear. Once you actually get hit by that spear, you get the additional pounce range. Sure, he flashes the pounce itself, but then the flash follow, very easily done there. And Santorin, yeah, if you can actually catch up to Contracts, you have the TP coming in, that's great. But look at where the TP is, and look at where Santorin is. There's no way for Power of Evil to get over there. And by the way, Power of Evil was TPing in as a level 1 Orianna. So you were just going way too fast. That just felt like they were really hungry to get a kill back after that early mistake. And, flashing in half HP on that Olaf just isn't it when there's 2 members there from 100 Thieves.
Really big early error there from FlyQuest to give away a second kill and spend your mid laner's teleport to do it. We'll see what 100 Thieves can build for themselves off of that unforced error from FlyQuest. We talk a lot about sort of what caused teams to lose in these games. Was it a mistake you made, or was it just the fact that your opponents played better? And oftentimes we do see these unforced errors from teams that honestly they really didn't have any business making.
Yeah, the second one I would categorize as, an unforced error. The first one feels like, they put pressure on, probably wasn't expecting the level 2 Nidalee gank, this sort of stuff. So that feels more like, you forced out a mistake due to your early planning, due to the level 1 invade. They had the set was starting with Sweeper to actually sweep out the ward, so you couldn't tell if Nidalee actually was leaving from that red buff area or going to gank after taking it. So there was some preparation there from 100 Thieves, which I actually really do like. I think when you're going to go for these early game style picks and you're going to have a more powerful level 1, you want to commit to that. You want to be looking for edges where you can get them, and this is back-to-back games where we've seen level 1 invades actually work out very well for this team that has kind of more of a commitment towards the early game. So credit to 100 Thieves, and we'll see if they can kind of keep this rolling, because Contracts, the 2 early kills, when you get to that Runic Echoes early on as Nidalee, your burst is really, really spicy.
Incredible. And I actually think those 2 kills that 100 Thieves got are probably a really good way to contrast the good play from one side versus the poor decision-making of the other side, right? That first one, exactly what you were talking about, 100 Thieves planning it out, making sure they could get that first blood. But then the teleport in afterwards, just not the same thing, as they're going for the dive here in the top side. And ladies and gentlemen, 100 Thieves continuing to get things done up here in the top side now. That is their 3rd kill of the game. That is kill credit over to Sunday. This Jace is in charge of the top lane.
This is like a my mid laner, your mid laner style game. Ryoma, nice TP there up towards that top lane. That was just really well done. We saw Power of Evil not able to get anything with his on that return, trying to get that kill back on Contracts. And Ryoma, just nicely set up dive there with Sunday, who had solo poked low, who had him with no health potion, and just TPing on the minion to kind of guarantee that was very, very smart. So 100 Thieves already out to a great start here. And if Jace gets too far ahead of the Renekton, it can get pretty brutal for that Renekton, because your all-in potential when you are playing against that phase rush Jace is greatly reduced, unless you're really, really strong.
FlyQuest now have to find a way to stop this bleeding and get themselves back into the game. Contracts not bothering to clear out that ward he's getting on top of. It's already disabled. Ryoma stepping forward, looking for the burst. Spear coming in, but Power of Evil stepping out of the way, will stay alive. Santorin still hovering around this mid lane. Contracts getting a little bit of damage down onto him, using the red smite there to make sure the auto attacks can find some extra. And now, with the enemy jungler pushed back, with the enemy mid laner not doing so hot, 100 Thieves recognizes they have control over the bottom river.
Yep, nicely done. They weren't fully coordinated. I'm not sure if Contracts was actually in range when he did land that stun, but the idea was there. You land the Scatter of the Weak. The Spear is then kind of supposed to be guaranteed, but Power of Evil might just get a solo kill here.
This could be what the doctor ordered for FlyQuest. Power of Evil needed a couple more seconds on the flash. It was not quite available just yet. Now he has it. Also having the Ignite ready to go, and there it is, ladies and gentlemen. Power of Evil gets the solo kill.
Greed is a deadly sin, Ryoma. Why are you staying in lane? You see that he has Ignite. You should know that Flash is up here shortly. He just tried to stay in lane straight up with like 10% health. That was really, really foolish, and Ryoma, giving Power of Evil way back into the game as he now has that solo kill. They're looking for Ignar on this bottom side.
Ignar dashing away with the grand entrance as a grand exit. Gets to safety, loses half his HP, and yeah, the mistake from Ryoma there in the mid lane, providing Power of Evil the chance to catch back up. The CS between these mid laners now even. Ryoma's got the 3 assists, but the 1 kill on Power of Evil is going to catch that gold up very nicely between the two. Contracts and Boom seizing the opportunity to go after this first Drake here, and they'll secure that one with no contest coming out from FlyQuest. With the second Drake, you can see the symbol on the wall there indicating it'll be Mountain. That means we get either Infernal Soul or Ocean Soul again this game.
Yep, and that's just one of those plays that you just don't want to see happen. Solo, though, maybe getting chased down, he will be able to get out. It's just greed, right? It's plain and simple. That's something that, honestly, I get caught doing a lot in solo queue. You stay around for the extra wave. You're like,
just one more wave, man.
I can probably push it out, or I almost have my buy. I'm sure I'm fine here at 20%. You're not. You need to accept it. You need to give up the minions in base, and Ryoma makes the classic error.
I always do that too. You go into the enemy jungle trying to steal a camp. The solo tries to go for the solo kill, but now it's going to be Contracts and Ignar both moving themselves up into this fight. Shockwave not going to be accelerated to find its way onto Ignar as Santorin pushes forward, but Poom has now joined the fight. No level 6 here on the set. Does try to use the face breaker, but won't grab the stun. Spear won't find a target either. Solo dashing back over the wall. Ryoma grabbing some CC onto the enemy jungler, but Santorin popping the ulti to get himself away. Shock Blast going to find a little bit of damage. There's so many health bars taking so much damage, but none of it has managed to focus one person down hard enough to mean a kill for either side.
This is pretty insane. Nice skirmishing here. 100 Thieves really committing to this early aggression. You know, Poom was there to actually match the roam from Ignar, and Contracts.
Oh, we're not done yet, ladies and gentlemen, and Contracts will be pop. Power of Evil showing the power of Orianna as Poom is taking a lot of damage here in the 2v2, following things up. Popping the Haymaker to get the shield, down to 1 auto attack range for death, but he will walk away.
Power of Evil gets another kill, and that one is the shutdown. So despite the early gank going the way of 100 Thieves, killing off Power of Evil, and Power of Evil honestly making the mistake, not flashing that spear, he is right back in it. It's just a great flash stun there from Solo. Yes, Contracts is ahead, but he's still incredibly squishy, and the flash stun there from the Renekton into the Shockwave was very, very well done. This was kind of a back-and-forth fight, and it did feel like 100 Thieves had the best of it. But Someday is going back to top lane. Ryoma is actually going back to mid lane here. They're not really fully together anymore, and that's when you have to back off. And FlyQuest just come on in and take advantage of that. Flash W, Shockwave comboed off that, no way to actually dodge out, and Poom was very lucky that he even escaped with his life.
I criticized Power of Evil at level 1, and I've got to give him props for everything since then. Getting back into the game, keeping a level head, making sure he's still going to be relevant, and popping off now on this Summoner Spellbook Orianna. You can see him now equipping the Ghost, ready to go to get into the team fights with a different mobility spell, with the flash still on cooldown there. As the next Drake will be spawning in 2 minutes, with the Herald also gone. Nothing really to fight over now for these two squads. Plenty of time left for Santorin to summon that up whenever he wants to. He'll pretty much have the full remaining duration of turret plates to drop that Shelly. The last game, we saw Immortals get absolutely no value out of the first Rift Herald. They dropped it and it was killed before it was able to get the charge off. So hopefully for the side of FlyQuest, they will find more success than what Immortals did in our previous matchup, as 100 Thieves are looking for a potential opportunity onto Power of Evil, but he senses something's wrong. See, he's not falling for the greedy trap. He's not walking up thinking, maybe I could get a plate or something. There's a little bit of extra gold up there. Now, Power of Evil, he knows better.
Yep, bot lane missing, jungle, MIA, time to get out of there. And Someday, he's like a really strong up on this top side. Almost has his Black Cleaver, double Dorans. He just took a plate there, so may actually have Black Cleaver gold at this point, very far ahead of Solo. And Someday is going to be one of those win conditions. We'll see if Contracts can continue to actually try to push him ahead. It does feel like their strongest member right now, and they should be able to actually win those 2v2s up on the top side if they can execute correctly.
Someday could be so scary if he keeps this pace up moving forward. I like the Black Cleaver choice just to make sure he has the bigger health pool, so when Solo tries to go for the all-in, he just doesn't automatically get the best of him there. And you can see that trade looked scary at the start, but Someday sticking around after Solo had already used his entire combo, making sure things even out.
Yeah, and that's really kind of the terrifying thing about these Jace players, who do play Phase Rush, is you can go in as a melee champion and you win the upfront trade, especially with Renekton. You have that stun. He's not fighting back. But then as you try to actually retreat out, he procs Phase Rush, and he can sometimes just chase you down and put so much damage onto you that you either lose the trade very heavily or even just straight up lose your life. And here FlyQuest moving over to that middle lane, just going to drop the Herald here to try to give some gold to Power of Evil. Santorin got out of there immediately, and they're also using this to try to actually contest this dragon, because 100 Thieves did get the first one. They want to continue snowballing these dragons, utilizing their early power. They have Callistus, they have that objective secure, and FlyQuest is trying to contest this.
Good job by Contracts and Poom moving up into the river as that Rift Herald was summoned to make sure that FlyQuest didn't get the control they wanted by using it. And now 100 Thieves are setting up wards, they're setting up traps, they're trying to control this entire area and make sure they can keep that stacking going. They still have a 1,500 gold lead here 13 minutes in. They still should have the edge in this fight. Teleport's available for both top laners, and they are both heading back up into that top side. Sometimes you'll see somebody try to path down here earlier. Cody's son gonna face check Ignar, who uses the ulti into the knockup. They're finding so much damage, but Cody's son fail flashing, and that should be surely a kill here FlyQuest get the kill onto Cody. A misplay from him spells disaster for 100 Thieves, and Santorin goes over to pick up his Drake.
Man, I've got to give a lot of credit to Ignar. I really am starting to feel like the Ignar signature play, is this Recon? Contracts, don't go for that. Is this sort of play where Ryoma now, he's actually probably just dead. He's TP'd on. See you later.
Ryoma in the middle of everybody here as he should be taken down. Power of Evil also nearly popped there. Someday trying to come in, find some sort of a revenge kill here. But 100 Thieves are in a 3 versus 4, and they won't take it any further.
Ah, the classic Syndra flank. worked out about as well as expected. Was a nice attempt, but not gonna result in a kill there for them. But they did actually get a lot of chunk down. They will result in them taking the Dragon here. Solo, though, it has to be noted, didn't actually match TPs. So, they will lose the Dragon, but they will get plates up on that top side, and he can start to close the gap a little bit between himself and the Jace. But to talk about Ignar a little bit, as I was trying to before we got interrupted by that play, Ignar has been, I want to say, one of the best players I have ever seen at actually finding these unique angles. Whenever he's playing the Rakan, he's constantly sneaking around. This wasn't the craziest of angles, but you'll notice when they fight at neutral objectives, he's often actually like wrapped around the Baron Pit or wrapped behind the Dragon Pit, and he comes on these solo flanks where he can find these really, really good picks and really, really good engages, and this was just another example of that. I think Ignar has been playing very well for FlyQuest this season, and smart little play from him, gets behind Cody Sun and costs Cody Sun his summoner and his life.
Honestly, I feel like this 100 Thieves gold lead was at its best 6 or 7 minutes into the game, and for the past 10 minutes, it's just been slowly shrinking closer and closer back towards that neutral state. Only 1,000 separating the squads now. Someday trying to build that back up, take down this tier 1 turret here in the top lane. 100 Thieves currently commanding a 1-0 turret count in the first place. Wanting to get a little bit of extra money in the pockets there. Black Cleaver fully completed for Someday. You can see Solo's inventory, despite the fact that their CS is pretty much even. He's 2 kills behind. He also had to make sure he rushed the Ninja Tabbies to resist some of that auto attack damage he was consistently going to be taking. So his Black Cleaver still a way away. As Contracts hovers this top side, the ward will spot him out as Santorin clears away some of this 100 Thieves vision in the FlyQuest jump.
Yep, and although I don't think that 100 Thieves are in as good a position as they were actually earlier on, they did get those 2 dragons, and Soul is still limited, right? If you can actually grab that Ocean Soul, it becomes so frustrating to deal with. FlyQuest does have the ability to potentially just burst you through it, 100 to 0 you, and then the Soul isn't going to be really doing much, but Nidalee plus Jace poking you constantly with that Ocean Soul is going to be very, very frustrating. So, that is something that FlyQuest is going to want to try to put a stop to. They did look to try to fight at the second dragon, so they're very clearly aware of the potential of that being a problem later on, and I do expect them to try to prep for this third dragon here coming up in 3 minutes and look to put a stop to 100 Thieves stacking.
Santorin trying to grab this second Herald of the game for the side of FlyQuest. Remember, the first one was used mid lane. They got 2 plates out of it. They tried to use it as a distraction for Drake. 100 Thieves responded appropriately, and it didn't result in, honestly, anything more than those 2 plates. We'll see if they can use it here to make something happen in top or in mid lane. Nobody really focusing on that bottom side, considering the tier 1 turret's already been lost for FlyQuest down there. I don't expect Santorin to hike all the way across the map just to drop Shelly. This top lane tier 1 nearly killed off already. Ignar and Mash with that Demolish proc should only need a couple more autos to kill it off, and there we go. FlyQuest getting their first turret of the game.
Yep, going to be able to almost even up the gold lead at this point. Just down 500. Ryoma, though, looking for Power of Evil.
Power of Evil trying to get himself away from that Super Soaker. Oh, ELP. Oh, nice shot, Someday.
Really well done there by Someday, cleaning up Power of Evil and gets the shutdown. And Someday is really, really strong. He has the Black Cleaver. He has the Serrated Dirk on top of that. That Shock Blast also taking about 30% of the health there off of Mash. So very, very threatening. Ryoma almost had enough damage for the solo kill, but did actually miss the Scout of the Week. And that's something where, if he actually just changed the order of his spells a little bit, if he used the Hextech GLP, this slowdown, prior to going for the Scout of the Week, it becomes so much harder to actually dodge that. Instead, he actually spent the stun and then used the slow just kind of for that additional damage. So I do think there was a possibility of Ryoma, with better kind of spell order, actually getting the solo kill, but Someday there to make up for that mistake and cleans up the kill.
It's actually the smarter play to use the spells in the wrong order, because now you get assist money, Isaac.
Oh, brilliant.
Assist money expands the kill by 50% value. Yeah, they're just maxing out their economic gains by allowing Someday to make the highlight play and get that downtown shock blast, as now 100 Thieves are looking to go for that third Drake, really put the pressure on FlyQuest. 45 seconds or so until that next one's going to be spawning, and you can see 100 Thieves. I like this. They're already getting into position into the river. They're not going to show up with 15 seconds to go and then try to force FlyQuest out. They want to set up nice and early and make sure that they can keep up this pressure. They've done a good job at maintaining so far in this game. Shockwave from Power of Evil's not going to find the target that it's looking for, and Azael, that's a really big cooldown to not have available for this Drake fight if FlyQuest are still thinking about fighting it. Shelly was summoned up in the mid lane, and okay, she did show up. I was worried this was going to be like in the old school days when the summon time was longer and it just gets interrupted and be sad.
I've still actually never seen it fully get interrupted. And Boom flashing in, quick flash out there by Power of Evil. That was a really good reaction from him. But Someday coming over, and Santorin is already very low, so if Santorin takes even like one Shock Blast, they're probably just going to have to back it up. And I think with Shockwave down, with Santorin low on health, this should be 100 Thieves taking the Dragon. They just need to play it slow. Avoid the hard engage. Continue looking for poke. Don't commit to a fight, because that is the only way FlyQuest really takes this. You land a little bit more poke on Santorin, and FlyQuest will likely just give you the Dragon for free.
Yeah, Ignar is the man to watch if you're a 100 Thieves fan right now, because that's the only way this fight should go awry. Santorin still at only half HP. Someday grouped up with the rest of the 100 Thieves squad. Santorin may go in and go for a fight here, but the Shockwave is back off of cooldown, and FlyQuest decided it's time to fight. They will steal the Drake away as well, and tragedy falls like a meteor on 100 Thieves. Boom tries to get himself back. They will lose solo, but they will take a Drake and 3 as the price. FlyQuest win that fight.
3 for 1 plus the Dragon. Huge win there for FlyQuest. They are in full control now. Great Shockwave from Power of Evil. And as you say, I mean, that cooldown is just so short. Like, look at it right now. It's over halfway back up already. They do stop that Dragon stacking. We're going to see it one more time. Santorin was already low. 100 Thieves just decided to kind of force it. I do think that they could have just slow-played it a little bit more, waited for additional poke, but they felt like we have Kalista, we have the ability to just rush this down. Instead, the Shockwave catching both Contracts and Ryoma. Ryoma goes down immediately, and the stun was still actually available there from Solo, which forces Someday to flash out. Cody's stun gets piled on top of, and Boom had already spent the flash over by mid lane, which we had to see Power of Evil react to very quickly, and he was able to do so, and so he's just going to get chased down too. Power of Evil has really been playing well after that early mistake, has been pretty monstrous in this game.
He has been instrumental in keeping FlyQuest where they are right here, and you can see the damage done in the last fight. It was MASH quietly just popping off, despite the fact that the Shockwave started it all. MASH made sure it ended well for FlyQuest, and I guarantee you, 100 Thieves had no idea that Shockwave was ready yet. They were playing around the fact that ult wasn't there, because otherwise there's no way Power of Evil would have been able to get that Shockwave the way he did. But for FlyQuest, that's such a huge win. Rabadon's Death Cap, locked and loaded for Power of Evil, along with the fully evolved Seraph's Embrace. These Shockwaves are going to just completely eviscerate 100 Thieves' health bars. Look at this team. The tankiest person is a support set.
Yeah, it's very, very difficult, right? And he's not even going to be building any MR. Contract has moved towards this kind of pseudo-supportive style of build. The Athenes is great for Nidalee. You're just landing the poke, you're healing up, with the bonus charges that you're actually landing from all the damage you deal. So can be pretty nice, but yeah, it gets difficult, right? Because Recon Engage is so hard to actually avoid, and Power of Evil always loves these Death Cap builds where he goes to that Death Cap second item almost every game on a lot of these champions, because it makes him so incredibly strong when he actually does hit it, and he doesn't feel like he needs to go defensive. He's not building the early Merc Treads. He's not building the Banshee's Veil, even though he's against Nidalee and Syndra. And that's one of the things that I think sometimes kind of goes unnoticed with this guy, is that he is performing very consistently, but he's also not actually building defensively while doing it. He's able to survive off of his own skill and kind of just scale towards what is an even stronger teamfight build.
That's Chad Oriana if I've ever seen one. I support this kind of gameplay. There's no reason to build defensively if all your opponents are dead.
True.
Can't take any damage. The only thing that's ever going to hurt you is a Baron. And guess what? You have an Alligator to tank that for you. You're not concerned.
You're not wrong.
But FlyQuest is now sitting in a spot where the gold is less than 1,000 apart, where 100 Thieves might try to set some sort of a trap down here for Solo, but he seems pretty content to recognize that, hey, He's been the sacrificial lamb this game. It's time to just farm up, not risk anything. Especially when he walks up right there, he can see that the Krugs are still just chilling there. Like, there's not really any reason to mess with that. So FlyQuest will now continue trying to just keep this game in an even enough state, farm up. There's nothing to really fight for right now. Nobody's feeling confident enough in their current strength to want to force a Baron play. Cody Sun getting himself away from Ignar, using the Blade of the Ruined King active. That one is 90 seconds. That's not reduced by cooldown reduction, so that will not be available at the start of this Drake fight if they start it up on spawn. And Azael, we're still just 60 seconds away from another Drake fight as Ryoma, he's not where he needs to be. Mash goes on a killing spree, and Ryoma will be alive in time for this Drake, but getting that pick on the 100 Thieves mid laner, 0 and 4 on this Syndra. Yes, he has assists, but the man is dying an awful lot.
Santorin dropping the emotes, and yeah, now Ignar looking again, potentially for someday, but it was Ignar on the flank, right? That is one I will say that they maybe should have known about, because he actually tried to go on Cody Sun, and Cody Sun was over by that red buff, so you had to know that Ignar could have been there. Someday getting very aggressive, the Boom is on the flank.
Mash trying to get himself away, but Someday is able to bring down the hammer, and now Power of Evil is going to feel the power of Cody Sun. Look at the damage flying out through these spears, as Ignar should likely die here to the solo kill coming out from Someday as well.
Ryoma's
Doesn't
behind
have the
them.
flash to go over the wall and chase him. Ryoma coming in from behind. There's your Syndra flank, Isaac. There's your plays from 100 Thieves. A double kill for Ryoma. He heard me talking smack. He put those kills on the board. And now the Thieves will take both the Drake and the Baron. They're starting up both objectives at once.
That was huge, and FlyQuest there, moving up very, very aggressively, but Poom was able to actually find the flank, and somebody just kind of walked in very brazenly. It didn't feel like FlyQuest, reacted quickly to the damage that Someday was doing, because I don't think that they realized Poom was behind him. So I think they were just calling to actually finish off that tower, and instead, they just get absolutely wiped off the map. This should be an easy to secure Baron. They are now at Soul Point. And it went from feeling like FlyQuest is in full control to 100 Thieves are on the verge of victory here. So let's watch this one more time. This is after that initial pick. Puma has actually snuck around a lot of the vision. He gets spotted now on that ward, so they should know that he's actually coming. But look at Someday. He's just walking into the middle of the team, jumps in on Ezreal through everyone, and it just did not feel like they were prepared for that flank whatsoever. Did not respect the potential of 100 Thieves engaging because they had already killed off Ryoma. I think that gave them far too much confidence in their position there, not respecting how strong the Jace had been. And as you said, I was making fun of Ryoma for the last TP flank there on Syndra, but this one obviously with 3 members chasing 2 and he comes in behind was going to work out a lot better. Well done by him.
Someday is only good at League of Legends on days that end in a Y. This man can just turn water into wine in these fights, making the damage happen, finding the angles to be successful here with the Jace. And FlyQuest now find themselves very much on the back foot. 3,500 gold down. They've got to deal with a Baroned up 100 Thieves for the next 2 minutes. And then shortly thereafter, they will have to fight for the Drake that could be the Ocean Soul for 100 Thieves as well. Cody Sun taking down the tier 2 there in the top side. FlyQuest may be looking for an opportunity here in mid lane, but they don't want to force things onto Poom. Full tank set, not the target that you've got to be engaging on. Solo trying to hold things down there in the top lane, wants to defend that tier 3 turret. Tier 1 still holding on here in the mid lane for FlyQuest, but 100 Thieves are doing their best to throw in all of these Syndra Spheres, all of these spears, and just keep that poke train going.
Yeah, FlyQuest is just trying to delay this Baron as much as they can. They are going to have to give up this tower eventually, but they committed the Shockwave on the previous wave, trying to just push back 100 Thieves, trying to protect as many of these objectives as they can, because they know that they're going to have to fight for Soul at Next Dragon, and they've got to make sure that they're not too far behind in gold when that actually happens. Smash has got to be a bit careful here, as Solo's getting really low, and they committed a lot of people towards that mid lane, but Renekton can't actually hold this Kalista by himself when Kalista is ahead and has that Baron buff.
Mash E-ing my words didn't work there for a second. Let me try that again. Mash E-ing aggressively.
Redo.
Over the wall. Yeah, just rewind that there for a second. E-ing
Chrono
aggressively over the wall, making sure he could try to just jump forward and keep these guys away, keep them scared a little bit. It's risky, but at least they've pushed them back. Solo is healed up. FlyQuest continuing to hold the line. The important thing here is that they don't lose any of those tier 3 turrets. They don't end up with vulnerable inhibitors that 100 Thieves can force a fight on in open ground. And it seems like they'll be successful with that. Power of Evil has one more minion wave to clear out. And you can see Someday wanting to use the last couple seconds of that Baron buff to get himself a faster recall. 100 Thieves going back to base. And look at the inventories. 2 control wards for Contracts, 2 control wards for Poom. Everybody coming out ready to prepare for this Drake because a victory here is Ocean Soul for 100 Thieves.
They are 5,000 gold ahead, so that is pretty nice. A lot of it is on Someday, so he has to have a successful fight. But Cody-san getting pretty strong at this point, too. He just completed his Bloodthirster, so he has double lifesteal, Hurricane, and the Stopwatch. And that's kind of that point where you start to get pretty difficult to actually take down. There's not a lot of healing debuffs, over on this FlyQuest side that are going to be like guaranteed. So, there's always that potential for him to just be able to heal it back up. Yes, there is that Thornmail over on Santorin, and there's an Executioner on the Ezreal. But, if he gets hit by that Shockwave combo, there's still potential for him to heal up off someone like the Rakan or like, this Renekton.
100 Thieves backing away as FlyQuest move aggressively forward to clear out some of this vision. Spear will not connect onto any target. Control wards placed down by FlyQuest to clear out both the wards and the traps. Power of Evil's Banshee's Veil is going to block a spell. However, that means 45 seconds until that one's back up and ready to go. Ryoma still having his Banshee's Veil ready to go. Mash, he eats the accelerated Shock Blast before he's able to Essence Shift away. And now with Cody-san and Poom controlling the bottom side river, 100 Thieves are feeling in control right now. That mistake from FlyQuest in the mid lane that gave away the Drake, that gave away the Baron, has just flipped this game upside down from where it was. And Cody-san nearly finding the kill onto Ignar. With their big initiation mechanism down to 300 HP, FlyQuest are seriously feeling the hurt right now. They have got to find some sort of a crazy angle to take this fight from, because if Ignar gets hit by anything, he is just going to collapse. Cody-san starting up the Drake. Remember, this is Kalista. He doesn't need the jungler nearby to smite secure it. He's got the Rend. Santorin's hanging out, wants to be able to contest this one, wants to be able to steal it away. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen, initiation coming in from FlyQuest. Ocean Drake's going to reset, and FlyQuest are able to find themselves one kill, but now they're going to lose Power of Evil. They're going to throw Poom right back into the fight. It's a double kill over to Cody. It's Solo barely getting himself away from downtown. 3 points for Someday, and 100 Thieves are looking to secure the soul. Cody-san's got it done, and ladies and gentlemen, it is all looking good for the boys in red.
The Power of Evil just got caught there. As they engaged forward, it didn't look like he was actually able to connect with the rest of his team to follow up on that Shockwave, so they didn't have quite enough damage to take down the rest of that 100 Thieves squad. And as they slipped away, so much healing from lifesteal from Cody-san, so much healing even out of this Nidalee, they now have that Ocean Soul, and 100 Thieves are in such a good spot. But a lot of credit really deserved by Cody-san for actually sussing out where Ignar was going to be flanking from. That's something that I was talking about earlier in the game, how good he is at finding these different angles, these locations that you don't necessarily expect the Rakan to be. And he's been doing that all season long. And this time, Cody-san went hunted because they saw everyone else on FlyQuest. So you can face check the Rakan if it's just the Rakan. And he actually went and found him in the Tri-Brush, chunked him out. And as a result, that was a lot more difficult of a fight for FlyQuest.
100 Thieves now looking for their second Baron of the game. With a 5,000 gold lead and an Ocean Soul edge, they have to know how far ahead they are. Santorin trying to step up here, throw some axes into the brush to clear and move forward. Power of Evil is about to get killed in 3 auto attacks from Someday, but the CC shows up. Power of Evil still kept alive for a moment, but Cody-san's going on a rampage. Someday's at 25%, but he is still trucking. Using the hammer to knock Solo away, trying to get himself out, but he will be shut down. Solo stands alone in the middle of 4, and Cody-san has a triple kill. 100 Thieves now making the call. Baron is not the focus. It's mid lane they're looking for. They could just be going for the end right here on this push.
Yeah, there's a long time on these respawns, and not a lot of damage here between Santorin.
Oh, Ignar, he goes into the Zhonya's trying to keep himself alive. He wants to dash away, but Ryoma's got his number. Santorin, the last man standing. It's a double kill for Ryoma. He was 0-4, and now he's 4-5. He went 4-1 since that big turnaround there in the mid lane. And with everybody's screen on FlyQuest side seeing black and white, it is nothing but dubs here for 100 Thieves, making the plays happen. They will find their 3rd win of the split at the end of the first round robin, and they will take down FlyQuest.
And what a game from Someday. This man was an absolute monster. In the final fight there over by the blue buff, he is flashing over the shockwave to continue going for Power of Evil there. You know, in that 1v2 against Ignar and Power of Evil, he knew how damn strong he was, and he made the most of it. This guy was an absolute monster throughout this game, you know, including in that pivotal fight at the mid lane tier 2 that really did turn the game around. You know, he was in there taking down Mash solo. He's killing Power of Evil off in this final fight. And 100 Thieves find a way to make it work after it did feel like they had let their leads slip, but one massive fight in mid lane got them Soul Point, got them Baron, one more, got them that Ocean Soul, and that's all they needed.
That fight in mid lane is the story of the game to me, because FlyQuest was in the driver's seat up until that point. And then 100 Thieves just shows up, and all of a sudden they're playing Grand Theft Auto, ripping them out of the car, taking over themselves, and driving that sucker straight to the enemy nexus. And there's nothing FlyQuest was able to do about it, because they weren't prepared. It's like you said, by the time they reacted, Poom and Someday were already in that flank position, and it was too damn little, too damn late.
Yeah, it really was. A lot of credit deserved by 100 Thieves. First Nidalee win in the LCS so far this split. Moving to 1-5 now, baby. On the board there for contracts.
She's in there.
Yeah, and honestly, they're doing much better since they have actually swapped in this new roster, right? They picked up the win against Dignitas. It was a messy one, but now taking down FlyQuest. This is a team that a lot of people were looking at as a top team. Yes, FlyQuest made mistakes, but also I do think 100 Thieves did a good job of actually forcing out those mistakes, of playing aggressively. You know, even after they made some errors and kind of gave a little bit of the lead back towards FlyQuest, they continued to play towards their win conditions. They were setting up and forcing aggressively around objectives, trying to utilize the early game power that they had actually drafted for, and that's just something that you really love to see out of these teams.
And I said that I would be happy to admit if I was wrong. We saw 100 Thieves draft a composition that wins through poke and split push and flanks. They didn't have that same hard engage that FlyQuest did, but hey, that one big flank in the mid lane was more than enough to do it. I guess I should have trusted the Papa. That was my fault. I'll have to remember that one for next time. 100 Thieves pull off the win here against FlyQuest. We're going to take a quick break, but when we return, we will hear from the winning squad before we call it a Friday. Don't y'all go anywhere.
Verizon knows how to build unlimited right. You start with America's most awarded network, the one with unbeatable reliability 13 times in a row.
This network is one less thing I have to worry about.
Then you give people more plans to mix and match, so you only pay for what you need.
Verizon Unlimited plan is so reasonable, they could stay on for the rest of their lives.
You include the best in entertainment, and you offer it all starting at $35, because everyone deserves the best. This is Unlimited built right, only on Verizon.
Your Honda MVP!
Dreams aren't achieved overnight. They take passion. Dedication. And even then, there are no guarantees. But for the LCS, that's the power of dreams.
Too bad!
It means you never give up. It means you always play again. Honda, proud automotive partner of the LCS.
Welcome back to the Verizon postgame interview. Today is the day we're joined by Someday. It's 100 Thieves Someday after their victory over FlyQuest, the fourth place squad in the standings right now. Someday, congrats on the win, first of all. And you had a beast of a game. How did it feel throughout? What were you thinking? And, you know, the win came pretty easy for you.
I definitely think we could play more clean, but that game we showed how much we can be as a team. So I'm proud of my team.
In seeing the team come together so much recently, what has been the focus of practice? Because it seems to be working.
Actually, we had some problem because everyone has a lot of energy. So sometimes it's more like over energy. So we try to be more disciplined and then play around more like as a team.
Awesome. Well, a lot of teams have trouble putting that from scrims onto the Rift, so it seems like 100 Thieves is already able to do that. My next question for you is about the bot lane. I want to ask about Poom. We haven't been able to talk to him or seen him too much other than a few games. How's it been able to play, playing with him, and is he talking a lot? Is he doing a lot of comms for the team?
I'm really surprised how good at he is because I heard he debuted like a few months ago and he played really well, and I think his personality is very straightforward, so it's really helpful to like when we have problem or need to solve the problem, he accepts well to other opinion, so I really like play with him.
That's an awesome attribute to have in teammates, especially when they're just joining and they're ready to learn. My final question for you Someday. Tomorrow's game, Cloud9 versus TSM. Who's going to win?
Yeah, two team is one of the best team in NA, but I'm gonna choose C9. Yeah.
All right.
They
All
play
right.
really well.
That's where everybody's been going. That's great. Someday, thank you so much for the interview and best of luck in the rest of the split.
Thank you.
All right, everybody, we're going to throw it to the State Farm analyst desk to break down the day.
Thank you, Riv. Just like the rest of them, Someday seems to be putting his eggs in the Cloud9 basket for tomorrow, but nonetheless, looking at the match we just witnessed, really stepping into the leadership role, but across the board, a tremendous victory for 100 Thieves, and the first victory for Nidalee within this split of the LCS.
Against a huge opponent. Just last week, we were having segments on is FlyQuest the second best team in the league, and now the revamped 100 Thieves roster is able to just crush this team from the very get-go. The early game, which was a weakness for FlyQuest in the first place, I think this is really impressive.
Yeah, I was shrinking down about who was talking about FlyQuest being the second best team. Who would have been saying that? The draft is one that, we kind of seen before. Like, CLG played a very similar draft where it's a bunch of ranged champions. It's Jace, Nidalee. It's all early game. Even Kalista and Syndra can be seen as more early game. And the fact that they were able to execute on it, have a good early game, stumble in the mid game, come back is really impressive. And I give a lot of that credit to Contracts, actually. Back, if people can remember, when he went to Worlds, played Ezreal jungle, and I think it was Graves jungle were two of the ranged ranged jungle champions that were meta at the time, and he was fantastic on them and had great performances at Worlds. And so it's cool to see him now, years later, playing another ranged jungler in Nidalee and having a really dominating performance.
Yeah, when it comes to Contracts, it was actually recently in his Travis Gafford interview where he was talking about his early game being a strength and mid game something that he was working on. If we look at some of the early game play that happened here today, I think it's safe to say that he does have some strength.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at these drafts, you have to say, like, 100 Thieves is playing an aggressive draft. They need to play aggressively. And if you could see here, their bot lane and jungle invaded bot, while Jace was actually invading the blue buff, so they know exactly where Olaf was starting. And this is Power of Evil playing very disrespectful against 100 Thieves, and it was really good on Contracts to notice this guy's too far up in the lane. They land all their skills, and PoE just flashes too late. And then this is just a good reaction. Contract smites the wolf to get enough HP in case there's a fight, and Santorin takes the bait and goes in. Again, Ryoma lands another skill shot, perfect execution, and now they have a 2-0 start in such a what's the word? Flimsy, fragile composition. If they get behind, they're going to have a lot of trouble. So they really had to make these plays work in the early game. They didn't have much room for error.
And the fact of the matter is, though, when it comes to those errors, there are still ways that FlyQuest was able to keep themselves within this game, particularly some objective fights that did go in the favor of green.
Yeah, those big fights that PoE was able to land some really fat shockwaves here, and this is where Azel wanted to see a little bit more poke, and usually when you have that Nidalee, like, yeah, why not land a little bit more poke, but they step up, and the PoE is able to land that shockwave when Ryoma was going for his own GLP and Scatter the Weak, so that was a pretty big moment, considering that they also stole the Dragon, but because 100 Thieves had done a solid job in every single Dragon setup, there was always either a fight or an opportunity for them to take it, and this is what we have seen from them in Academy, particularly Contracts and Poom, focusing around the early game, focusing around objectives, so they're transitioning this over into the LCS. It worked really well, and also the lessons that, or the early game that Academy someday had played in 2019, where they just completely ran over games, was also focused a lot about winning top lane in the early game as well, so I think that a lot of the things that these teams have worked on and these players had practiced for the past year and a half are really showing today.
Yeah, I'm much more impressed with what they did after that mistake at the Dragon fight, because the early game, you get to practice it a million times over the week. It's really it's the most practiced part of the game for most people, and it's also where their comp is the strongest. The fact that they made blunders with such a fragile comp, like Prawley was saying, and were still able to then make good plays afterwards is actually the more impressive part to me, more so than the early game.
So if we're thinking about those moments in which 100 Thieves were able to take control later on and work around those objectives, you have to look at the fight that ended up happening pre-Baron.
And this happened because Ryoma, they engaged and killed Ryoma in the mid lane. But right after that, 100 Thieves weren't too vexed by being down 4v5. They actually engaged on this turret. Poom did a really great flank on set, and this kind of blew the game open, because this was the fight that 100 Thieves really needed to solidify their gold lead in the game.
Which someday hard carry. To be able to snipe an Ezreal among the rest of the enemy team and still walk around alive, I think he just had a great game that here now Ryoma gets to basically repent for his earlier sins, which were quite a few.
There was numerous,
but we will forgive him. We forgive him for those because that was a huge comeback play, but it's still, none of that would have been possible if it wasn't for Jace being able to just one-shot the Ezreal and continue to carry on the fight.
And in addition to serving a role on the Rift someday, he has actually said in 100 Thieves content that he feels he needs to fill this leadership position with the absence of Meteos. So if you're looking at this in particular, Prawley, how do you feel that the identity of 100 Thieves is forming around this new roster? Do we have enough of the veteranship with someday holding strong in the top lane to try and bring those players like Poom into this LCS status?
Oh, absolutely. I coached someday for 2 years, and I think the first spring finals that we played together, that's kind of when I realized, like, this guy, if he really wants, could solo lead a team. Because in this playoff match that we had with Someday, it was really, really difficult, really, really long game. It was really grueling, and Someday started shot calling in the game, which he never did before then. So I know if he really had to do it and he was forced into the position and he felt the responsibility on himself, he could actually perform as a shot caller and a leader for a team.
That's what we're constantly getting to see here in the LCS. People stepping up not just within their play, but their qualities and what they contribute to the team as a whole. And as far as how that affects the standings, I mean, 100 Thieves have to be feeling pretty good about getting another win under their belt. We've also got Dignitas picking up a much-needed win before they hit the halfway point here in the split, which brings them tied to 9th, while 100 Thieves after this are going to chain through and hope to continue on with their victories for the rest of the split. Now, everyone watching, please come back and meet us here tomorrow, where Game 2 has the only team that was able to take a game off Cloud9 in spring getting another shot at the Keens. And lo and behold, it is a long-time rivalry between TSM and Cloud9 after the show match that we witnessed today, where Cloud9 did hand the victory over, or got the victory for themselves. Mark, how do you think that the match tomorrow will compare to the fun that we ended up getting to lead into today with?
I would bet that it's a similar speed of the game, but I doubt TSM gets as many kills in the real match as they were able to get in the show match. And it's really funny hearing all the interviews from people, and everyone's basically like, yeah, it's C9. And they're almost like offended that you're even asking them if TSM
it's a trick question. It's trying to find out like who are the people that are you know, who's TSM paying to say like get you to say TSM's going to beat T9, because no one in their right mind would be able to say TSM could beat, despite the fact that they beat T9. They're just too dominant right now. It's just not even close. With a team that's been this inconsistent, yeah, they can beat them, right? It's happened before. They have high highs, low lows, but they would have to be, you know, all those stars aligned, and then suddenly Cloud9 plays a mixture of how they played against Golden Guardians and Dignitas, and then now, okay, now you could see it happen.
I did particularly enjoy the chuckle alongside Dardoch's answer when he had to give a prediction for that match. Sentiment that seems to be shared by some, but you will just have to tune in tomorrow to see how the actual result plays out. In the end, that does it for us here on the LCS. On behalf of myself, the casters, and the entire remote broadcast crew, thank you so much for tuning in. Until next time, good morning, afternoon, evening, and good night.